Chapter 902. At the entrance of the courtyard, Shi Mingkuei's expression was cold. He had changed his mind in the end because he had thought of the previous possibilities. Someone coming in the middle of the night definitely had other intentions. The guest hall was too big of a target, and there were too many eyes. If he were to welcome someone there in the middle of the night, it would be easy to attract attention. It was better to welcome the person to his courtyard. This way, fewer people would know, and it would be easier to control. As soon as Shi Mingkuei walked into the side room, he heard a sweet voice. "Master, who's disturbing you in the middle of the night?" "Damn it." A woman with a seductive face and a voluptuous figure walked over and grabbed Shi Mingkuei's arm. "Let's continue. I still want more." With that, the woman pressed her body against Shi Mingkuei's body and rubbed against him. The woman wasn't wearing much, revealing a large area of her white skin. Shi Mingkuei's eyes flashed with passion, but when he thought of the envoy coming soon, he could only suppress the evil thoughts in his heart. Not now. An important guest is coming soon. Put on your clothes and prepare a pot of tea. Understood, master. The woman picked up her clothes and left, swaying her butt. Patriarch, the person is here. Not long after, Shi Mingkuei brought Bai Jiu to the courtyard. "Come in." Bai Jiu walked in and saw Shi Mingkuei sitting at a stone table in the courtyard. "Patriarch Shi Mingkuei." Bai Jiu smiled and walked over. "Please sit." Shi Mingkuei extended his hand and gestured for Bai Jiu to sit across from him. Bai Jiu sat down. The woman walked over and poured tea for the two of them. "I wonder what urgent matter the envoy has to come to my Shi Mingkuei clan at this time?" Shi Mingkuei chuckled and asked curiously. The timing was really strange. Even he couldn't guess Bai Jiu's purpose in coming. As for the reason Bai Jiu had asked for a meeting, Shi Mingkuei didn't take it to heart. He only took it as an excuse. "It's nothing urgent." Bai Jiu yawned and smiled. "It's just that Master Qin asked me to bring a message." Shi Mingkuei frowned slightly when he saw Bai Jiu's reaction. This young man didn't put him in his eyes at all. How could he be so lazy in front of him? However, since this concerned the Elixir King's successor, Shi Mingkuei had no choice but to suppress his anger. "What did Mr. Qin say?" "Master Qin has already chosen a location for his medicinal pill chain. It's near the Pill King Pagoda. I've been sent here to inform the various patriarchs." "What?" Shi Mingkuei was shocked and shouted in disbelief. "Mr. Qin has already chosen the location of the pill chain, but I didn't know about it at all." At this moment, Shi Mingkuei was extremely puzzled. As the patriarch of a clan, how could he not know about this matter that concerned the primitive continent? Shi Mingkuei suddenly thought of a phrase that Bai Jiu had mentioned. Patriarchs. Could it be that the others didn't know? Shi Mingkuei could not help but ask when he saw Bai Jiu's calm expression. "May I ask which clan you've chosen, Mr. Qin?" "Baima clan." Bai Jiu answered softly. After what had happened to the previous two clans, he already knew what these people were thinking. They were shocked that Lin Yu had started the construction of the medicinal pill chain quietly. Sure enough, Shi Mingkuei nodded with an angry look. He had long predicted that Bai Mobing would definitely use this opportunity to gain the advantage of being in a favorable position and establish a relationship with the pill chain that was about to begin. Suddenly, Shi Mingkuei's expression changed as he thought of something. "When will Mr. Qin start the construction?" "It will start after dawn today." Bai Jiu smiled faintly. Dongwang Wu and Nangong Zhan did not give Bai Jiu an exact answer. Would they go or when? However, Bai Jiu was not in a panic at all. Even if they didn't come, the Baima clan would arrive at dawn. Of course, this situation would not happen. Under Lin Yu's scheme, these old foxes had to bite the bullet and jump into it even though they knew it was a trap. "I see." Shi Mingkuei curled the corners of his mouth and smiled bitterly. He finally understood why the messenger had come so late at night. It was estimated that the other clans had received the news before him and were facing the same situation as him. This time, the few old foxes had been pinched to death by that Qin Wenyan. Lin Yu's calm expression flashed through Shi Mingkuei's mind. He could not help but sigh in his heart. A young hero. Then I'll take my leave. Bai Jiu got up and clasped his fists. Take care. In the end, Shi Mingkuei did not ask for Bai Jiu's name. Shimin did not care about the identity of the emissary. What he was thinking now was how to make the most out of this matter. However, after thinking about it, Shimin still found that he could not get any benefits at all. The Shimin clan was willing to help. As for not going, there was no need to think about it. At dawn, Linyu got up and went to the window. Feeling the aura outside, Linyu smiled faintly. The Baimwa clan had sent a team of people to leave the main house and disperse. These people from the main house would not go directly to the station chosen by Linyu. They would go to the side branches of the Baimwa clan to gather people and then go together to build the station. For this kind of construction work, as long as one's cultivation reached the equilibrium state or above, they did not need any tools. Because compared to those tools, Yao Qi was obviously more useful. Not only was it convenient to use, but it was also more accurate when cutting stones and wood. In the morning, at the new station, compared with the previous wasteland, it had changed a lot. The ground was full of pits and markers made of boulders, covering the entire area. It's finally done. The people of the 4 great clans should be here soon. The female Yama breathed a sigh of relief and looked into the distance. Based on my understanding of those people, they should be here before noon, Baizhou said with a smile. After coming out of the Shimin clan, he rushed here directly and planned the construction of the station with Lin Yuan and the other 2. If not for his help, the 3 of them would have to work for a few more hours. At this time, the female Yama saw a cloud of dust in the distance. Someone is coming. It's the people of the Baimwa clan. Lin Xiu looked in the direction of the crowd and said indifferently, and this is just one of the batches. Baizhou nodded. After a while, those people arrived in front of them. It could be felt from the aura emitted by these people. Among them, the lowest was at the equilibrium state, and the highest was at the myriad spirit realm. The man in the Baimwa clan's main house uniform took a step forward. We are here to participate in the construction under the orders of Lord Baimwa Bing. The female Yama nodded and turned to Lin Xiu. Lin Xiu is in charge of this side. Tell them the meaning of the different symbols. You will also lead the members of the Baimwa clan who come later. Okay, Lin Xiu nodded. Follow me. Everyone walked north under Lin Xiu's lead. They had already discussed before and let the 4 great clans be in charge of 4 directions. It just so happened that the 4 of them were in charge of 1 clan each. Chapter 903. Not long after Lin Xiu left, 2 groups of people rushed over from afar. It's the Baimwa family again. The female king of hell saw that the 2 groups of people were stopped halfway and gathered with the group beside Lin Xiu. The other 3 families will not come, right? A hint of worry appeared on Yama's face. If only the Baimwa family came. Not to mention that the construction speed of the encampment would be very slow, they would also be laughed at by the other families. If the first step was messed up, the development of the elixir chain would definitely be affected. Don't worry. Baizhou smiled confidently. He had seen the patriarchs of the other 3 families and was the most thorough about this matter. Those people would come no matter what. Not a single one would be missing. As soon as Baizhou's voice fell, a large group of people flew over from the south. It's the Nangong family. Yama was a little surprised and was finally relieved to see other families coming. Lin Yuan, I'll leave them to you. Lin Yuan was expressionless and said in a deep voice. Yama wiped her cold sweat as she watched Lin Yuan take a big step forward and greet the Nangong family. She didn't know if Lin Yuan could explain to the Nangong family with his taciturn personality. But Yama wasn't too worried. After all, there weren't many types of signs, and the Nangong family should be able to understand just by looking at the drawings. The 4 of them each had a drawing in their hands, which Yama took the time to draw when she was planning the signs. The drawings marked the significance of each sign, what should be built at each location, and what materials should be used. At the same time, people from 2 different directions rushed over. The 4 major families were all here. Yama and Baizhou looked at each other and split up. Soon, the people from the 4 major families began to build the basic framework of the building under the leadership of several people. Countless stones and wood were taken out and placed on the ground with their bare hands. Some people used the glory aura to cut the stones into suitable sizes and piled them up. The wood was also cut into uniform thickness and laid the foundation. At the same time, there was a steady stream of people who had just arrived to join the construction. These people were relatively far away from here. Although they had set off immediately upon receiving the order, they had only just arrived. Although the patriarchs of the 4 great clans did not come, each of the clans sent some elders to watch over their own clansmen. From this, it could be seen how much importance the 4 great clans attached to this event. Looking from above, the entire base was filled with people. It was a grand sight. By noon, the members of the 4 great clans had basically understood the meaning of the symbol. The Queen of Hell and the others gathered together and finally had a chance to rest. These guys are really stupid. They made the same mistake several times in a row. Lin Xiao complained in disgust. It was the same for me in the beginning, but it gradually got better. At most, those elders didn't understand the blueprints and came to me to ask. White Nine had a look of deep sympathy and nodded. Lin Yuan remained silent. As long as no one asked him, he generally would not take the initiative to speak. Yama was a little curious about how Lin Yuan communicated with the Nangong family. By the looks of it, it will take a few days for the base to be completed. Looking at the various buildings around and the prototype of the base that had been revealed, Yama was surprised. The speed of this construction could be described as fast, but everyone was not too surprised. After all, this was a matter carried out by the 4 great clans. How could it not be fast? There were already tens of thousands of people from each family. The Nangong family had the most people. Yama did not count carefully, but there were more than 20,000 people at a glance. On the other side, Lin Yu had just returned to his courtyard. In the morning, he had discussed the matter of the first batch of pills with Bei Mobing. In the end, they came up with a result that satisfied both sides. Big brother Lin Yu. In the courtyard, Nangong Yu's eyes lit up when she saw Lin Yu. Should I continue to improve my cultivation today? Lin Yu nodded. How does it feel to be in the 4-symbol state? Is the realm stable? Very good. Nangong Yu ran forward and grabbed Lin Yu's hand. Big brother Lin Yu, let me show you the results of this morning. With that, Nangong Yu pulled Lin Yu to the stone chair and sat down. Then, she took out a sword and started swinging it. Obsidian aura was attached to the blade, and it let out a sharp sword whistle. Not bad. Sensing Nangong Yu's aura, Lin Yu smiled faintly. From this sword move, he could tell that Nangong Yu had stabilized her cultivation in the 4-symbol state. There was no sign of weakness. I'll let you reach the peak of the 4-symbol state today. If you adapt fast enough, you can break through to the 10,000 spirit state tomorrow. Thank you, big brother Lin Yu. Nangong Yu opened her mouth and smiled sweetly. At this moment, the door of the room opened and Qin Yi walked out. She heard Lin Yu's voice and wanted to come out to take a look, but she did not expect to meet Nangong Yu. Nangong Yu, Qin Yi's face flushed red. Because of what happened yesterday, she had been hiding from Nangong Yu. But she did not expect to meet her. Big Sister Yi, Nangong Yu greeted, but a trace of panic quickly appeared in her eyes. The thing she secretly did with Lin Yu the day before yesterday made her feel a little flustered, especially when facing Qin Yi. I'm planning to raise Nangong Yu's cultivation, Lin Yu said calmly, as if he did not feel the strange atmosphere at all. Seeing Lin Yu so calm, the two of them relaxed a little. Come in. Lin Yu stood up and led the two of them in. Seeing Lin Yu bring them into the room, the two of them trembled. The bed in this room had an unusual meaning in their impression. Sit down. But Lin Yu still had a serious expression and at the same time indicated for Nangong Yu to reveal her shoulders. Okay. Nangong Yu sat up cross-legged and took off the clothes on her shoulders with a red face. This time, not only was she and Lin Yu in the room, but Qin Yi was also in the room. This made Nangong Yu even more nervous. Relax a little. Lin Yu patted Nangong Yu's smooth shoulder. Okay. Feeling the touch, Nangong Yu almost jumped up from the bed. But when she heard Lin Yu's words, she quickly calmed herself down and sat up straight. Lin Yu's fingertips touched her back. A warm current flowed through Nangong Yu's meridians and into her body, followed by a feeling of déjà vu. Nangong Yu gritted her teeth, afraid that she would make some strange sounds. Big brother, help little sister Nangonyu inject her cultivation first. I'll go out first, Qin-yi said from the side. Because Nangonyu's back was facing her, Qin-yi did not notice anything strange. She knew that the infusion of cultivation would take some time and did not want to distract the two of them. Okay, Lin Yu nodded. When Nangongyu heard that Qin-yi was about to leave, she relaxed a little. Looking at Nangongyu's relaxed expression, Lin Yu smiled and secretly increased the infusion of cultivation. Nangongyu instantly felt the warm current in her body expand a little. Coupled with the fact that she relaxed a little, she immediately let out a soft moan. Oh, but Qin-yi had already walked out and did not hear her. Nangongyu closed her eyes and thought that Qin-yi had heard her. She was embarrassed and angry. Chapter 904. Lin Yu smiled faintly and didn't continue to tease her. Instead, he steadily injected his cultivation into her body. Middle stage, 4 symbols. Late stage, 4 symbols. Peak stage, 4 symbols. Nangongyu's aura rose steadily. She crossed the entire 4 symbols in just 4 hours. Nangongyu slowly opened her eyes when she sensed that no more cultivation was being injected into her body. Big brother Lin Yu, you're so naughty. Nangongyu's face was flushed. Even though she had broken through several realms consecutively, she still hadn't forgotten how Lin Yu had teased her previously. Lin Yu smiled faintly and didn't explain to her that Qin-yi had already left at that time. Get used to your new realm first. I'll go get some herbs. Okay. Nangongyu started to try to control the soaring Yao energy in her body, but she was still a little unfamiliar with it. Lin Yu turned and left the room. He was going to ask Bei Mobing for a few sets of herbs that he lacked. Although the unity of heaven and man talisman didn't have any side effects, it was still difficult for Nangongyu to control the sudden increase in Yao energy by herself. Therefore, Lin Yu planned to refine a few elixirs to help Nangongyu adjust the Yao energy in her body. At the same time, he would also refine the elixirs needed for tomorrow's breakthrough. Master Qin, Lin Yu saw Bei Mobing Yun Lei standing opposite him as soon as he walked out of the courtyard. Master Qin, where are you going? Bei Mobing Yun Lei jogged over and asked with a grin. I'm going to ask the chief for a few sets of herbs. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Huh? Master Qin, what herbs do you need? I'll send someone to get them for you. Bei Mobing Yun Lei's eyes lit up when he heard Lin Yu's words. What a good opportunity. He was worried about how to please Lin Yu. He didn't expect the opportunity to be sent to him directly. Lin Yu turned to look at him. Bei Mobing Yun Lei immediately puffed up his chest and looked as if he could take care of everything. Then go ahead. I need dragon snake grass, colored glass flower, bamboo pattern flower, these herbs. Master Qin, don't worry. After Bei Moi Yun Lei memorized it, he immediately ran towards the Bei Moi clan's pill house. As the young master of the Bei Moi clan, the people of the Bei Moi clan all attached great importance to him. With his status, it was naturally easy for him to obtain a few sets of medicinal ingredients. Moreover, he was Bei Mobing's only son, and there was no conflict between factions in the Bei Mobing clan. It could be said that Bei Moi Yun Lei had been living a very comfortable life all this time, which had developed his current character. Lin Yu smiled faintly as he watched Bei Moi Yun Lei run away. It's not bad to have another tool for nothing. Moreover, as long as Bei Moi Yun Lei didn't die, he was destined to be the next patriarch of the Bei Moi clan. Although he was still lacking compared to Yuja Kitami, there had never been a female clan leader in the 4 major clans. From this point, one could predict Bei Moi Yun Lei's future identity. However, at the mention of Yuja Kitami, the corners of Lin Yu's mouth curled up. Since yesterday, Yuja Kitami hadn't come to find him. Previously, she had been hanging around him for no reason. Interesting. Lin Yu was very clear that Yuja Kitami had been eavesdropping outside that day. In fact, Lin Yu's divine telekinesis had already sensed Yuja Kitami when she walked in the courtyard. However, Lin Yu didn't stop at that time. This wasn't the Sky Desert universe. In the past 100,000 years of reincarnation, Lin Yu hadn't met Yuja Kitami. However, Lin Yu still understood women's thoughts very well. Since Yuja Kitami was jealous and deliberately didn't look for him, he would leave her alone for a few days. When the time came, everything would naturally be fine. Perhaps there would be an unexpected surprise. Not long after, Lin Yu saw Baimoi Yun Lei running over with a large pile of medicinal ingredients. Master Qin, I brought all the medicinal ingredients you wanted. Okay. Lin Yu nodded and took the medicinal ingredients from him. Seeing that Lin Yu was about to turn around and enter the house, Baimoi Yun Lei's face was full of hesitation. Master Qin, can you let me observe your alchemy process? Baimoi Yun Lei asked cautiously, afraid that he would make Lin Yu unhappy. Although Baimoi Yun Lei had provided the medicinal ingredients for Lin Yu free of charge, he was still very nervous. After all, high-level alchemists had a small temper. If they didn't like you, they might not refine pills for you in the future. Not to mention that Lin Yu was not only a high-level alchemist, but also the successor of the Elixir King. Didn't you see that even his father, Baim Mobing, was very respectful towards Lin Yu? You want to observe my alchemy? Lin Yu looked up and smiled slightly. Can I? Baimoi Yun Lei nodded frantically like a chick pecking at rice. Yes. Lin Yu took out a few more medicinal ingredients and gathered all the medicinal ingredients needed to refine the qi stabilizing pill. But you have to watch carefully. Lin Yu stretched out his right hand and a flame suddenly rose. The flame kept spreading. 3 colors, 6 colors, 9 colors. A 10-colored flame appeared in Lin Yu's hand. This time, Lin Yu didn't take out the Emperor Fire, because after receiving the Elixir King's legacy, he found that his alchemy skills had improved greatly. It was just refining a qi stabilizing pill, a 7th grade pill. A 10-colored flame was enough. The medicinal ingredients were thrown into the flame one by one and melted into medicinal liquid in the blink of an eye. F***CK. Baimoi Yun Lei's eyes widened as he stared at the flame. This was the first time he had watched Lin Yu refine pills at such a close distance, and he was even more aware that Lin Yu's attainments in the Tao of alchemy were far from what any alchemist he had ever seen could compare with. As expected of the person who received the Elixir King's legacy, Baimoi Yun Lei suppressed the shock in his heart and carefully watched Lin Yu's movements, unwilling to miss even a second. But no matter how much he concentrated, the flame was extinguished after a dozen breaths. A golden pill that exuded a strong pill fragrance fell into Lin Yu's palm. Did you see it clearly? Lin Yu asked with a smile. Baimoi Yun Lei was stunned on the spot. He had already paid full attention, but he still couldn't see clearly how this pill was refined. He had heard of the qi stabilizing pill. It was a common 7th grade pill, but it would take at least a few hours to refine it. It was finished in a dozen breaths. He probably wouldn't be able to learn it in his next life. I didn't see it clearly, Baimoi Yun Lei told the truth, then continued. Master Qin, don't worry about me. Although I can't see it clearly now, I will be able to learn it one day. Baimoi Yun Lei was worried that after he said he couldn't see it clearly, Lin Yu would drive him away with this reason. Then wouldn't he be dead? Although he couldn't understand Lin Yu's alchemy technique now, at least he had a chance to learn it. And even if he couldn't learn such a powerful alchemy technique, it was better than learning from those trash alchemists. At this moment, in Baimoi Yun Lei's eyes, except for Lin Yu, all the other alchemists became trash. You said you were an 8th grade alchemist? How many hours would it take to refine a furnace of pills? If that wasn't trash, then what was? Lin Yu nodded and turned to walk into the courtyard. Master Qin, take care. Baimoi Yun Lei was relieved that he wasn't driven away. At this time, he suddenly thought of Yuja Kitami. Just now, he was also learning alchemy from Master Qin. He could go and show off again. Baimoi Yun Lei was delighted and ran toward Yuja Kitami's courtyard. Chapter 905. Lin Yu walked into the room with the tranquility pill. Nangong Yu sniffed and opened her eyes. She smelled the rich pill fragrance as soon as Lin Yu entered the room. Here, Nangong Yu was about to reach out to take it, but found that Lin Yu had already put the pill to her mouth. Seeing this, Nangonyu blushed and opened her mouth to swallow the pill. Ah! Nangonyu felt that her tongue seemed to have accidentally touched Lin Yu's finger and immediately lowered her head, not daring to look at his eyes. Stabilize it well. You will break through to the 10,000 soul realm tomorrow. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Okay. Speaking of the 10,000 soul realm, Nangonyu felt a little emotional. If it wasn't for Lin Yu, she could still reach the four symbols realm in her life. But the 10,000 soul realm was absolutely impossible. Looking at Lin Yu's back, Nangonyu secretly swore in her heart. She must work hard to cultivate so that she could help big brother Lin Yu. On the other side, Baimwa Yunlei walked to Yuja Kitami's courtyard and was about to barge in when he stopped in front of the door. He came to make Yuja Kitami angry. He didn't want Yuja Kitami to find a chance to scold him. He couldn't let her get a hold of him. Yuja Kitami, are you there? Baimwa Yunlei raised his hand and knocked on the door. Soon, the door opened a small crack. Young master, it was Yuja Kitami's maid who appeared. Young master is in a bad mood. You'd better come another time. The maid said hesitantly, but because of Baimwa Yunlei's identity, she didn't dare to say anything. There's no time like the present. I think today is just right. Baimwa Yunlei had a grin. She should be in a bad mood. He came to add to her troubles. Because Yuja Kitami was very good to her, the maid tried her best to stop Baimwa Yunlei. Young master, you'd better come again in a few days. Swish. Baimwa Yunlei pushed the door open. Get out of my way. Although the maid's cultivation was higher than Baimwa and Yunlei's, she didn't dare to forcefully stop them. As a servant, she simply couldn't afford to offend the Baimwa clan's little young master. Trying her best to stop him was already her limit. Otherwise, Baimwa Yunlei would label her as an insubordinate, directly cutting off her path of survival. Why are you here again? Looking at the figure at the door, Yuja Kitami asked coldly. Did this guy really think that he was easy to bully? He had just been scared off by him yesterday. Yet he still dared to come again today? Oomph. Thinking of yesterday's scene, Baimwa Yunlei let out a cold snort, but his face was soon filled with joy. I'm here to tell you a piece of good news. Today, Master Qin taught me alchemy. How is it? Are you jealous? Northern Mwa Yunlei wanted to use this statement to provoke Yuja Kitami's anger. After all, he had only said that he wanted to acknowledge her as his master yesterday, and she was already so angry. If he continued to talk about learning alchemy, wouldn't it make her feel even more stifled? However, the scene that Baimwa Yunlei expected did not appear. That's it. Hearing his words, Yuja Kitami asked calmly. Yuja Kitami was naturally very clear about how Lin Yu's alchemy skills were. He was able to casually refine high-grade pills, and he was even refining pills without a furnace. Baimwa Yunlei's pitifully weak alchemy skills wanted to learn from Lin Yu. Wasn't that just a dream? The moment Baimwa Yu heard this, she knew that he was bluffing and exaggerating in order to make her angry. Maybe he couldn't even see Lin Yu's alchemy skills clearly now. He only knew how to brag here. Thinking of this, Yuja Kitami's mouth couldn't help but evoke a smile. With her smile, Baimwa Yunlei was completely dumbfounded. What was this situation? He had already said that he had begun to learn alchemy from Master Qin. Why wasn't Yuja Kitami angry at all? Instead, she was happy. Did you hear that clearly? I have begun to learn alchemy from Master Qin. And, seeing that Yuja Kitami was very calm no matter what he said, and occasionally laughed at him, Baimwa Yunlei was done with his anger. Yuja Kitami, I've already said so. Why aren't you angry? No wonder Master Qin doesn't want you. I think there's something wrong with your brain. Seeing that it was useless to say anything, Baimwa Yunlei finally finished speaking and was about to leave. Suddenly, a cold aura enveloped him. Sister. Baimwa Yunlei turned around and saw Baimwa Yu's piercingly cold eyes. What are you doing? Baimwa Yunlei couldn't help but step back, only to find that his legs could no longer move under Yuja Kitami's pressure. I think you're tired of living. Yuja Kitami's voice wasn't loud, but the coldness that seeped out of it made Baimwa Yunlei shiver uncontrollably. Yuja Kitami slowly walked over. The Yaoqi in her hand kept rolling. Don't do it. I was wrong. I admit my mistake. Bei Moi Yunlei's face was pale as he stammered. He actually sensed a trace of killing intent in Bei Moi Yu's pressure. Killing intent. Yuja Kitami was crazy. She clearly didn't get angry no matter what he said before. Why did she suddenly go berserk? Bei Moi Yunlei originally planned to provoke her to a certain extent and then run away. After all, in front of Bei Moi Yu of the myriad spirit realm, he really had no room to resist. But how could she play like this? Otherwise, she wouldn't have any reaction. Once she got angry, she would kill. Is it useful to admit your mistake? Yuja Kitami's lips curled up into a cold smile. If I don't let you experience it, I think you really aren't afraid of death. With that, Yuja Kitami waved her hand. The strength of the 10,000 souls realm exploded and instantly sent Bei Moi Yunlei flying. This wasn't like when Bei Moi Bing attacked and deliberately suppressed his strength. Although Yuja Kitami's palm avoided Bei Moi Yunlei's vital points, the power of the 10,000 souls realm landed squarely on his body. Bei Moi Yunlei was instantly sent flying to the wall of the courtyard and fainted. Take him away. Yuja Kitami turned and walked into the side room, leaving behind a sentence for the two maids. Yes. The two maids hurriedly lowered their heads and responded. The two of them were already scared silly by the scene in front of them. The young master was directly knocked unconscious in front of them, and seeing that the young master didn't seem to be restraining her strength, the young master wouldn't be seriously injured and die, right? The two trembled as they came to Bei Moi Yunlei's side to check before letting out a sigh of relief. Although Bei Moi Yunlei had a few broken bones, his internal organs weren't damaged too much. It seemed that the young master was still rational and avoided the vital points. But even so, the situation was still very bad. They could already imagine the scene of Yuja Kitami being punished by the patriarch. Let's send the young master away first. The two maids looked at each other. They had no choice but to lift Bei Moi Yunlei up and walk toward his courtyard. Chapter 906. Who did it? Looking at the unconscious Bei Moi Yunlei lying on the bed, Bei Moi Bing roared angrily. His precious son had been beaten up so miserably, and it was in the clan. The servants in the room lowered their heads, not daring to speak. They only knew that it was the two maidservants of the young master who had brought the heavily injured Bei Moi Yunlei here, but they did not know the details, so they did not dare to speak carelessly. There was no benefit in guessing correctly, but if they guessed wrongly, it would be a great sin. Bei Moi Bing angrily walked to the bed and checked Bei Moi Yunlei's injuries. After a while, Bei Moi Bing's expression gradually eased. Fortunately, it was only the tendons and bones that were broken, and the meridians were not injured. Even if Bei Moi Yunlei only had the cultivation of the four symbols realm, he could completely recover after resting in bed for a period of time. However, who was it that was so daring? Who dared to beat Bei Moi's son like this in the clan? Not long ago, Bei Moi Yunlei's attendant had gone to find him, and Bei Moi Bing had immediately rushed over after learning of this matter, so he had not had time to investigate clearly. Could it be the children of the other elders who did it? A cold light flashed in Bei Moi Bing's eyes, but he quickly shook his head and rejected this idea. The sons and daughters of this generation of elders were not outstanding either. Most of them were in the four symbols realm, and a few had broken through to the 10,000 soul realm. They were much older than Bei Moi Yunlei, so they definitely would not rashly attack him. Don't worry, Father will definitely seek justice for you. Looking at Bei Moi Yunlei's injuries, Bei Moi Bing said resolutely, as long as the person who injured Bei Moi Yunlei was not Mr. Qin, no matter who it was, he would not easily let them off. As for Mr. Qin, it should not be him. After all, he had repeatedly warned Bei Moi Yunlei not to provoke Mr. Qin. Bei Moi Bing was not too sure. After all, he knew very well how much of a bastard his son was. At this time, Bei Moi Yunlei on the bed coughed lightly and slowly opened his eyes. Father! When Bei Moi Yunlei opened his eyes and saw Bei Moi Bing by his bed, he immediately let out a sad cry. Son, tell me, who beat you up so badly? Moi Bing hurriedly approached with a pained expression. Father will definitely not let him off easily. Cough. It's Moi. There was still blood in northern Mayun Lei's throat, so he spoke intermittently. When Mo Bing heard the first half of the sentence, his eyes instantly filled with a ferocious glint. It wasn't Mr. Qin. Since he was a member of the Baima clan, then don't blame him. But when Mo Bing heard the entire sentence, he was instantly stunned. Yuji Kidami. If this was in the past, even if it was his daughter who dared to beat Moi Yunlei to this state, Moi Bing would definitely punish her severely. This is your younger brother. How could you be so ruthless? But now, Yuji Kitami's status was different. She was already Mr. Qin's woman. Mo Bing looked a little hesitant, not knowing what to say. Duh, father? Moi Yunlei couldn't help but speak up when he saw that Moi Bing hadn't spoken for a long time. I only said that great Master Qin didn't want her, and that fellow Beimayur beat me up like this. Father, you have to seek justice for me. HM. Mo Bing was stunned when he heard this, and then he flew into a rage. You little brat, are you cursing your father? Was it easy for your father to find such a good son-in-law? Moi Yunlei was stupefied. Wasn't he the one who was injured? Why was father scolding him? You really deserved to be beaten. If you dare to provoke your sister in the future, don't come looking for me, even if you get beaten to death. Mo Bing flung his sleeves and turned to leave in a huff. Seeing this scene, not only was Moi Yunlei stupefied, but even the servants in the room were dumbfounded. Didn't the clan leader dote on his son the most? As Moi Yunlei's attendants, they knew very well. In the past, no matter what big mistake Moi Yunlei committed, the clan leader would never get angry. But now that Moi Yunlei was seriously injured, why did the clan leader scold him instead? They had also heard that 2 days ago, the young master had been injured by Mo Bing. The servants lowered their heads and secretly glanced at each other. Moi Yunlei had fallen out of favor? That shouldn't be. Could it be that the clan leader suddenly discovered that Moi Yunlei wasn't his son? That's why his attitude changed so quickly. Moi Yunlei lay on the bed with a dazed gaze. He was really unlucky to the extreme. But fortunately, Master Qin agreed to let him observe the pill refining process. He still had hope of becoming a high-rank alchemy master and turning over a new leaf. In a situation where all kinds of bad things happen one after another, this was the only warmth in his heart. Thinking of this, Moi Yunlei grinned. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Don't bully the young for being poor. Don't regret the day I become a high-rank alchemy master. Moi Yunlei still didn't know that all these abnormalities were caused by Lin Yu. If there was no Lin Yu, he would still be that little overlord that no one dared to provoke in the Moi family. The servants in the room all trembled when they saw Moi Yunlei actually laughing to himself despite his injuries. Their little young master had been beaten silly. The next day, Lin Yu refined a myriad spirit condensing pill for Nangongyu. This was a grade 9 medicinal pill that could help people at the peak of 4 symbols realm break through. At this time, there might be people who would feel strange. Helping a mere 4 symbols realm person break through actually required a grade 9 pill? Actually, that was not the case. Regardless of whether it was grade 9, grade 8, or even grade 5 or grade 4 pills, they were all medicinal pills that could help people at the peak of 4 symbols realm break through. Although they were all useful, their effects were far apart. If grade 4 medicinal pills could increase the success rate of breaking through by 5% or 10%, then grade 8 medicinal pills could directly increase the success rate of breaking through by more than double. As for this myriad spirit condensing pill that Lin Yu refined, it could infinitely reduce the difficulty of breaking through. As long as you had a trace of possibility of breaking through successfully, it would increase this trace of possibility to 100%. And after breaking through, it would even help stabilize the newly advanced cultivation. It could be said to be a divine medicine. Big Brother Lin Yu. The door was pushed open and Nangongyu ran in. It's indeed Big Brother Lin Yu refining pills. There's a huge cloud outside. Everyone says that this is a heaven and earth phenomenon after the pill is formed. And this medicinal pill is for you. Lin Yu nodded. Eat it, and your breakthrough this time will be foolproof. Thank you, big brother Lin Yu. Nangong Yu's eyes flickered, and she was very grateful. 10 hours later, the aura of myriad spirit realm emitted from the room. Little sister Nangong Yu broke through successfully. In the courtyard, Qin Yi said with some joy. Lin Yu smiled faintly. After reaching the peak of Four Symbols realm and eating his myriad spirit condensing pill, it would be difficult to break through. Nangong Yu pushed open the door and ran out, plunging into Lin Yu. Thank you, big brother Lin Yu. Cough, cough. Qin Yi was a little dumbfounded. Nangong Yu was too bold, being so intimate with Lin Yu in front of her. Hearing the voice, Nangong Yu realized that there was someone else behind Lin Yu. And this person was Qin Yi. Nangong Yu's ears turned red, and she hurriedly let go of Lin Yu's arm. Chapter 907. Just as the atmosphere in the courtyard was getting a little awkward, the courtyard door was opened. The female king of hell walked in from outside. Captain, the construction of the encampment is almost done. Do you want to take a look? The female king of hell looked at the three of them strangely and then asked, Oh, Lin Yu raised his eyebrows. So fast. Yes, it's only been 2 days. Qin Yi also had a look of surprise on her face. Yes. The female king of hell smiled and explained to them. Yesterday morning, before the people from the 4 great families came, we had already planned the construction plan. As soon as they came, we started working through the night without rest. The female king of hell suggested working through the night because the people from the 4 great families were at least in the equalization realm. To them, not to mention one night, even if they didn't sleep for half a month, it wouldn't be a big problem. Therefore, it wouldn't affect the quality of the construction. I see. Lin Yu nodded. In this way, he knew. The 4 great families indeed attached great importance to this matter. Although the female king of hell didn't mention it, he could roughly guess how many people the 4 great families sent. Even if they didn't rest, they would need at least 50,000 people to complete the construction of the encampment in 2 days. Big brother Lin Yu, bring me along if you want to take a look. Nangong Yu looked at Lin Yu with a face full of expectation. Previously, when they went to take over the King of Pills Tower or to the new encampment, everyone except her went out. Only Nangong Yu stayed in the Baimois family all this time and never left. Now that her cultivation had reached the 10,000 spirit realm, although she had just broken through, she had some ability to protect herself. Okay, I'll bring you along this time. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Okay. At this time, the female king of hell also noticed Nangong Yu's aura and her eyes widened. Miss Nangong has also broken through to the 10,000 spirit realm. Waves of shock surged in the female king of hell's heart. She remembered that when she left 2 days ago, Nangong Yu was only at the equalization realm and had yet to reach the peak. How did Nangong Yu's cultivation catch up to his in the blink of an eye? How'd he do it? Hee. When Nangong Yu saw the shocked expression on the female Yama's face, she reached out and grabbed Lin Yu's arm with a smile. Lin Yu Gage helped me. No wonder. The female Yama revealed an envious expression. She had started from the equalization realm to the 4 symbols realm, and now to the myriad soul realm. It took more than 10 years, and this was with the help of Lin Yu. If it wasn't for the cultivation that Lin Yu injected into her during the sequence battle and the pills that he gave her later on, it would have taken her half a lifetime to break through to the 10,000 spirit realm. Therefore, although there was envy in her eyes, there was no jealousy, because she knew that her current strength was all thanks to Lin Yu. Don't worry, after the base is built, we won't lack the myriad soul seal. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He could see through the female king of hell's thoughts at a glance. There was no jealousy in her heart. It could be said that he didn't misjudge her. That was why he said these words. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, brother Lin Yu. The 3 people in the courtyard were pleasantly surprised when they heard this. They were now stuck at the early stage of the myriad soul realm, the soul sealing realm. Although Nangong Yu and the female king of hell had just broken through to this realm, Qin Yi had long reached the peak of the early stage of the Myriad Soul Realm. The reason why she hadn't broken through was because she lacked the Myriad Soul Seal. This time, with Lin Yu's help, their strength would probably increase again. Let's go. Okay. The female king of hell led everyone away from the Nangong family. In Nangong Yu's courtyard, a maid ran in from outside. Young master, I saw Master Qin and 3 women coming out of the courtyard. They seem to be rushing towards the area that is under construction. Today, Lin Yu's deal with Bei Mobing and the fact that he had exchanged a large area to prepare for the construction of the elixir business had already spread in the Bei Mobing family. Even the maids had heard about it. Of course, everyone was curious about what benefits Lin Yu had promised in exchange for such a large area of land. 3 women. Yuja Kitami bit her lips, and a trace of resentment appeared on her face. This baddie's luck with women is too good. Why are there so many women around him? Bei Mayu grumbled softly. Young master, seeing Yuja Kitami muttering to herself, the maid asked cautiously. I know. Is there anything else? Yuja Kitami came back to her senses and looked up to ask. About young master. Do you want to find Lord Patriarch to mediate? The maid deliberated for a moment and decided to remind her. She saw how badly Yuja Kitami had beaten Bei Mobing and Yunlei yesterday, and then she seemed to have forgotten about it, as if nothing had happened. If the Patriarch found out, humph! Bei Mayu snorted coldly and instantly refused. Even if father wants to punish me, I won't apologize to that guy. He deserves a beating. Yes, seeing this, the maid couldn't say anything else. After all, her status was there, and saying anything more would seem like she was trying to steal the limelight. However, she felt a little strange. Logically speaking, the Patriarch should have come to condemn the young master, since he had been severely injured yesterday. Why hasn't there been any movement until now? Did the Patriarch not intend to hold the young master accountable? The maid shook her head and threw this thought to the back of her mind. As servants, they knew very well how much Bei Mobing loved the young master. It was absolutely impossible not to hold the young master accountable. On the other side, Lin Yu and the others also arrived at the station. At this time, the station was no longer the same as yesterday. Countless buildings rose from the ground and were arranged neatly and orderly. Captain, Master, seeing Lin Yu coming, Lin Yuan and the others surrounded him. Well done. Lin Yu looked around and smiled slightly. Hearing this sentence, several people showed joy. Captain, our station can be completed by tonight. Bai Jiu pointed to the unfinished building and said, I asked the elders sent by the 4 major families, and they all said that the part they are responsible for could be completed today. And Lin Yu nodded. At that time, I can reunite with my old friends. Qin Yi and the others all nodded. Although they had not been separated for long, they still felt some longing. This feeling was not directed at a certain person, but the entire Sky Desert universe. After all, that was their hometown, and they could never go back. As for Nangong Yu and the others, they were not surprised to hear this sentence. During this period, they also knew the identity of Lin Yu and the others. They also knew that one of Lin Yu's treasures contained 1 million people. When the station was completed, these people would appear, and they would be a force that would shock the 3 realms and 5 regions. Chapter 908. F *CK. Quickly look at who that person is. Am I seeing things? Is he the Elixir King's successor? Master Qin, take me in as your disciple. My talent in alchemy is very good. Everyone, quickly look. Master Qin is here. Lin Yu's appearance attracted the attention of the 4 major families. For a moment, the scene was extremely sensational. Apart from a few people who had followed him to the alchemy conference, it was the others' first time seeing Lin Yu with their own eyes. Silence. Over a dozen people stood out and shouted to their family members. Once these people's voices were heard, the 4 major families' people also quieted down. They were all elder-level figures in their respective families and were deeply respected by their clansmen. And after these people managed their families, they flew towards Lin Yu and the rest with apologetic expressions. They were clear about the importance of this young man in front of them in the eyes of their family heads. One had to know that their family heads had offered such exaggerated conditions in order to rope in Lin Yu back then. This was also because Lin Yu did not agree. Otherwise, if he chose any of the four major families, his position would be much higher than theirs now. Of course, even if Lin Yu did not have a position now, their attitude was still respectful. Master Qin, we've embarrassed ourselves in front of you. When they arrived near Lin Yu, the dozen people cupped their fists one after another. It's fine. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Master Qin, I'm an elder of the Nangong family. My Nangong family can complete the task that you arranged for us today. The Nangong family's elder stepped forward and said. When the other family's elders heard this, they immediately thought to themselves, this old fox really knew how to take credit. Clearly, everyone could complete the task today, but he said it as if your Nangong family did it faster than us. Master Qin, our Baima family can also complete the task today. Master Qin, the Dongwang family too. For a moment, everyone spoke one after another. I think everyone from the four major families here. Lin Yu nodded and said softly. Although Lin Yu didn't say that he would give the four great clans something substantial, just as words of thanks made the elders wave their hands repeatedly. You flatter me. Master Qin, you're too polite. We're all on the same side. Master Qin, if there's anything else, please do tell us. Our Nangong family will do anything for Master Qin, even if we have to go through fire and water. The last person to speak was the elder from the Nangong family. Everyone, including the other elders of the Nangong clan, looked at him. Although there was disdain in their eyes, there was also a trace of envy. This guy's words were too shameless. But why can't I say something nice like that? Although he was being stared at by everyone, the Nangong family's elder did not blush at all. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. If there's a single lie, I'll be struck by lightning. The Nangong family's elder said with a straight face. All right, Lin Yu smiled faintly. Go ahead and finish your work as soon as possible. Understood. More than a dozen people quickly responded and then went back to supervise the construction. For the construction of the encampment this time, not only did the four major families have to be fast, but they also had to keep up with the quality. Otherwise, when the encampment was completed and there were problems, they would find out that their families were in charge of this place. Wouldn't that be a disaster? Not only would their families lose face, but the elders would also be punished. Lin Yu and the others arrived at the completed building in the center of the inner city. This is the center of our encampment. It was built according to your requirements. The female king of hell introduced the place to everyone. The building was shaped like a tower and occupied a wide area. It was about 200 meters tall and was taller than the other buildings in the encampment. The material was a kind of greenstone brick. It was crystal clear and very smooth to the touch. Lin Yu nodded. This was the central building in their city. It was similar to the conference halls of various sections. Everyone began to rest in the tower. Soon it was evening. Master Qin, all the buildings have been completed. Outside the tower, the voices of the four major families' elders could be heard. Lin Yu led everyone out, and a lively city appeared in front of them. As everyone flew into the air, the entire encampment gradually appeared in front of them. The innermost circle was the inner city. It was filled with stately buildings. These were all functional buildings. For example, there were elixir pavilions, blacksmithing shops, skill buildings, trading houses, auction halls, and so on. Moreover, there was more than one building of each type. For example, there were more than 10 trading houses in the inner city. After all, this was a city that had to accommodate 1 million people. Many of the necessary facilities had to be built. The outer city, on the other hand, was made up of many residences, mixed with some common buildings. This was because most of the people would live in the outer city. The outermost city wall of the encampment was circular. There were a total of 4 city gates, divided into north, south, east, and west. From these 4 city gates extended a wide road that ran through the entire outer city and reached the inner city wall. These 4 roads also divided the entire outer city into 4 areas. Very good. Lin Yu looked around and grinned. Hearing this, The dozen or so elders who followed them all breathed a sigh of relief. Master Qin, then we won't disturb you. The Nangong family elder was very discerning and said aloud. Although they were also very curious about where exactly Lin Yu planned to gather people by building such a big city, they were also very curious. Even if Lin Yu took over the people from the king of Pil's pagoda, the total number of people was less than 10,000. This city was built according to the specifications of 1,000,000 people. However, these elders knew what to ask and what not to ask, so they didn't ask rashly. Lin Yu nodded. Next, the people of the 4 great families quickly left under the lead of their respective elders. Although the sky was getting dark, and it was a little difficult to hurry, especially for those who were far away. But under the supervision of the elders of their respective families, no one dared to complain. After a while, only Lin Yu and the others were left in the city. We can begin. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Everyone was a little excited. From this moment on, their city was going to start running. Lin Yu took out the solitary universe staff and stood on a square. Then, several figures appeared beside the Nirvana universe staff. Qin Ji, Yiming Yu, Yang Kai, Sword Maniac, Qin Wunyin, Wind and Moon 5 Fairies Xia Bing, Killing Heart Buddha. One by one, familiar figures appeared in front of Lin Yu. Sect Master, Little Saint King. Everyone looked at Lin Yu excitedly. They knew that Lin Yu not only made a name for himself after coming to the New World, but also obtained a city for the people of the Sky Desert universe. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Everyone, long time no see. Chapter 909. Everyone gathered and talked for a while, then Yang Kai, Qin Wunyin, and the others went to the extinguishing heaven and earth staff to maintain order. After Qin Yi had gone in to inform them, they had already made preparations for this relocation. According to the orders set in the extinguishing heaven and earth staff, everyone from the Sky Desert universe came out one by one and rushed to their assigned areas. Although Lin Yu had the ability to release everyone from the extinguishing heaven and earth staff in an instant, he did not do so. He also considered to maintain stability and order. Under the arrangement of Qin Wunyin and the others, the number of people in the city gradually increased, and there was not a trace of chaos. On the other side, Lin Yu was surrounded by many people. I really miss you so much. Yiming Yu reached out and held Lin Yu's arm, murmuring softly. Qin Ji, Xiu Lingshan, Dongwang Feiyu, and the others also stood beside Lin Yu, surrounding him tightly and chatting happily. Qin Yi saw this scene and was not surprised at all. On the contrary, Nangong Yu and the female king of hell were shocked when they saw the women around Lin Yu. Captain is too strong. The female king of hell was in disbelief. She could see that these women's attitude towards Lin Yu was not ordinary. They were not ordinary friends at all. Nangong Yu was already stunned, and she could not even speak. She had thought that Lin Yu seemed to be very popular with women, but she did not expect it to be so exaggerated. All of a sudden, there were so many competitors. Damn it. Okay. Lin Yu smiled faintly. I want to tell everyone something. As soon as his voice fell, the surroundings became quiet in an instant. Everyone from the low-key sect looked at Lin Yu with curiosity. They want to know what could make Lin Yu announce in front of everyone. Lin Yu first introduced the world so that everyone would have a rough idea of what to expect. Then, he revealed his purpose. In this new world, only people like us come from the same place, the Sky Desert universe. So, I plan to change the name of the low-key sect to the Heaven Alliance. Lin Yu's voice was calm, but full of boldness. As soon as the name of the Heaven Alliance came out, it instantly resonated with everyone. This domineering name recorded their past and also foretold their future. Although this world was unfamiliar to all of them, the Heaven Alliance formed by them would definitely become a force that could not be underestimated in this world. Heaven Alliance, Great Alliance of the Sky Desert Universe. This name is very good. It has a profound meaning. Does that mean we can't call him Sect Master anymore? Should we call him Alliance Master? Looking at everyone's enthusiastic discussion of the new Sky Alliance, Lin Yu faintly. After that, Qin Yi led Qin Ji and the others and introduced them to the various facilities in the city. This night, everyone's use you, and you, and it was hard to imagine how Lin Yu had managed to obtain such a brand new city in such a short period of time. Lin Yu returned to his room and was about to turn off the lights and rest. However, not long after he laid down, he suddenly heard light footsteps outside the door. Then a figure slipped in. Lin Yu opened his eyes, and Yi Mingyu's delicate face appeared in front of him. Yi Mingyu leaned close to Lin Yu's face, and her light breaths surrounded his ears. I missed you so much. Lin Yu pulled her down and pressed her on top of him. You're so bold. Yi Mingyu understood what Lin Yu meant. Qin Yi's room was just next door. She would risk being discovered if she came here. I missed you so much. Yi Mingyu's face was slightly red as she panted softly. After coming to this world, you didn't find another woman, right? Why would I? Lin Yu smiled faintly. You know that I don't have good luck with women. Hearing this, Yi Mingwei rolled her eyes at him. It would be strange if she believed him. There were so many beautiful women following Lin Yu without hesitation. How could this be called not having good luck with women? Moreover, she had noticed the little girl who had been following Lin Yu around at night. She looked at Lin Yu lovingly. However, Yi Mingyu was also very smart. She didn't continue to pester him. Bad guy, watch how I punish you. Yi Mingyu stuck out her tongue and sat up beside Lin Yu. Oh. Lin Yu lay on the bed and looked at her with interest. Yi Mingyu ran her fingers through her hair and looked at Lin Yu with seductive eyes. Then, she lifted his blanket and crawled in. Are you in such a hurry? Lin Yu immediately guessed what she wanted to do. He closed his eyes and teased her. Oh. Annoying. A series of intermittent sounds came out from the blanket. 2 hours later, Yi Mingyu peeked out from the blanket and stuttered. Yi Mingyu's face was rosy. Exquisite jade beads hung on her cheeks as she panted lightly. Lin Yu lowered his head and looked at her with a smile. Although there was no light, Yi Mingyu could still see Lin Yu's deep gaze. Yi Mingyu's throat moved. She moved closer to Lin Yu and whispered in his ear, You are so bad. However, although her voice was soft this time, her words were very clear. After that, Yi Mingyu didn't wait for Lin Yu to speak. She quietly walked out of the room and returned to her bed. Thinking about her previous actions, Yi Mingyu's face turned red. She couldn't fall asleep for a long time. The next morning, the 1 million people in the Sky Desert universe finally came out from Lin Yu's Ultimate Destruction Universe staff. Most of them were settled in the outer city and had their own residences. Some of the buildings in the inner city also started to operate. The Elixir Pavilion was gradually filled with elixirs taken out from the Ultimate Destruction Universe staff. The Technique building was also filled with techniques according to the floors. The entire Heavenly Alliance city began to be in order. As the sky brightened, the 4 great clans suddenly realized that there were so many people in the city that had been empty the day before. In the Nangong family, an elder reported to Nangong Zhan in shock. Clan leader, many people suddenly appeared in Master Qin City. There are at least a few 100,000 of them. What? Nangong Zhan's pupils contracted. He simply couldn't believe his ears. An empty city had a few 100,000 more people overnight? How is this possible? If people moved in the middle of the night, the Nangong family's patrolling guards at the border would definitely notice. Or did this group of people come from the inner city of the Baimov family? However, Nangong Zhan quickly received messages from the other 3 clan leaders. They were all asking about the city. Nangong Zhan then realized that none of the clans had discovered where these people came from. They appeared out of nowhere. Chapter 9-10. Because of this, the 4 big families all took action and sent people to investigate the Heavenly Alliance city. At the same time, the patriarchs of the 4 big families also held a meeting at the edge of the Nangong family's territory. Bei Mobing, I don't think you should hide it from us. Did you secretly send those people in from the Baimov family's territory? Nangong Zhan frowned and questioned. He really couldn't figure out how these people appeared. Hearing his words, Dongwang Wu and Shiming Kuei also looked at Bei Mobing suspiciously. Although the area where Lin Yu built the city did not belong to the Baima family, it was still close to the territory of the Baima family. If there was a change, the Baima family should have discovered it. It really has nothing to do with me. I only knew about it this morning. Bei Mobing looked helpless. He also felt very strange. So many people appeared out of nowhere, but the guards of the Baima family at the edge of the territory did not notice anything. It was not until the people slowly came out of the city in the morning that the guards of the Baima family knew about it. Were the Baima family raising a bunch of good-for-nothings? Bei Mobing looked at the three of them and continued, "Besides, I don't get any benefits by lying to you." The other three patriarchs looked at each other and felt that it made sense. If Bei Mobing really cooperated with Lin Yu and did him a big favor, he would definitely get a lot of benefits. This kind of thing could not be hidden. Even if he did not say it to show off, at least he would not hide it. Indeed, even if he went in from the Baima family's territory, we should know about it. Dong Wang Wu nodded. Humph. Bei Mobing snorted coldly. He understood Dong Wang Wu's words immediately. Dong Wang Wu was obviously telling him that the Dong Wang family had spies in their territory. However, Bei Mobing did not intend to make a fuss about it. The four big families had been established for so many years, and all of them had spies in the other three families. He had also sent several groups of people to the other three families. Basically, we can conclude that these people did not go in from the ground. Did they go underground? Shiming Kuei scratched his head and asked in confusion. Upon hearing his words, the other three shook their heads. It was still possible if there were only a few people. However, looking at the current number of people in the city, it was impossible for them to pass through underground. How could there be such a huge tunnel that could hold so many people? Moreover, this city was built by the four great families. If there really was a secret passage, they would have discovered it long ago. That should be the teleportation array, Nangong Zhan said after pondering for a moment. Using the teleportation formation, they could move quickly. However, this couldn't explain where these people came from. To pass through so many people, they would have to activate a very large teleportation array. With their Spirit King realm cultivation, it was impossible for them to not sense the teleportation array. More importantly, no matter where these hundreds of thousands of people came from, there had to be a place that was similarly lacking in people. News of the sudden disappearance of so many people would definitely spread. However, they had not received any news so far. Just as the four of them were deep in thought, someone ran in from outside and whispered a few words into Nangong Zhan's ear. Hearing that person's words, Nangong Zhan's expression slightly changed. What happened? After that person finished speaking and left, Dong Wang Wu asked. The people I sent to investigate that city told me that after they arrived, they were taken into the city. They said that the actual number of people in the city was more than what was estimated from the outside. Finally, they saw Mr. Qin. After hearing that, the other three people were shocked. The actual number of people was more than what was estimated? Could it be that the number of people had reached 1 million? Then, what happened after they saw Mr. Qin? Shiming Kuei asked hurriedly. Mr. Qin told us not to worry. This is his force called the Heavenly Alliance, and that city is called the Heavenly Alliance City. As soon as he said that, the whole place became quiet. The descendant of the Elixir King established a force by himself. All of them had the same thought in their minds, because it was a natural existence that had a huge advantage. The descendant of the Elixir King represented an extremely high level of alchemy strength. If he established his own force, how fast would this force develop? As for what Lin Yu said about not to worry, it was completely bullsh*t in their eyes. Which one of the people present wasn't a wily old fox that had experienced hundreds of battles? How could they believe such words that sounded like a bluff? Chapter 9:11. The atmosphere in the room was silent for a moment, and finally someone spoke. This, Dong Wang Wu's voice was low. Mr. Qin's scheme is not small. After saying this, Dong Wang Wu looked at Bei Mobing. Why are you looking at me? Like you, I just learned about it. Bei Mobing glared and felt a little wronged. Why did these three old guys think that he was secretly plotting with Mr. Qin? Didn't he just give Mr. Qin a piece of land? Didn't he just want to marry his daughter to Mr. Qin? Didn't he just make a secret deal? Why did they suspect him every day? Seeing Bei Mobing's reaction, Nangong Zhan snorted coldly. Who asked you to give the land of the Bei Mobing family to Mr. Qin and send your daughter to him? Who else can we look at but you? You are the most familiar with Mr. Qin. Alas, to tell you the truth, Mr. Qin is unfathomable. I really can't guess what he is thinking. Bei Mobing explained helplessly. This was true. He really didn't expect Lin Yu's action. Even after reaching that deal with Lin Yu, he didn't expect that Lin Yu was going to establish his own force on that land. Since you said so, what benefits did you get after giving Mr. Qin that land? Shiming Kuei suddenly asked. Seeing that Bei Mobing was about to explain, he added, Bei Mobing, don't say that you didn't get anything. You gave Mr. Qin a large piece of land and got nothing? We all know what kind of person you are. The words that Bei Mobing wanted to say were stuck in his throat, and he had to sigh. Alas, I just made a small deal with Mr. Qin. I used that land in exchange for the priority to buy elixirs. It was not that Bei Mobing wanted to say it, but he had to. If he continued to hide it, the others would definitely think that he and Lin Yu had a secret. Maybe he wouldn't be invited to the meeting of the four families. What? Nangong Zhan slapped the table and stood up. Bei Mobing, you scoundrel, you actually managed to obtain such great benefits without a word. During the construction of the Heavenly Alliance City, Nangong Zhan had sent more people than the other three families because he wanted to take the opportunity to express his goodwill to Mr. Qin. He might be able to get some benefits, such as having Mr. Qin refine pills for him first. In the end, someone else had already obtained it before him. How could Nangong Zhan not be angry? Mr. Qin was the one who looked for me. You can't blame me. Bei Mobing shrugged and said helplessly. Even if anyone present was in his shoes, they would definitely agree to such a deal. A useless piece of wasteland in exchange for a priority purchase of medicinal pills. Whoever didn't agree was a fool. All right, stop arguing. Shiming Kuei stopped the two of them and hit the nail on the head. Let's talk about this later. What we need to know now is what Mr. Qin is thinking and whether the Heavenly Alliance will affect our four families. That's right. Hearing his words, the other three nodded their heads. Although the people sent by the Nangong family had returned with the news, they said that Mr. Qin had told them not to worry. However, they hadn't seen what the Heavenly Alliance City looked like with their own eyes. How could they be at ease? What if Mr. Qin created the Heavenly Alliance because he was interested in the four families? Then let's go to the Heavenly Alliance City to visit Mr. Qin now. Nangong Zhan was the first to suggest. All right. Everyone else immediately agreed with his suggestion. They also wanted to see what the Heavenly Alliance City looked like. Would it be a threat to the four families? At this point, the four family leaders immediately ended the meeting and rushed to the Heavenly Alliance City. At the same time, the Heavenly Alliance City was operating steadily as if it was a city that had been established for a long time. Previously, when Lin Yu and the others were wandering outside, the people in the extinguishing heaven and earth staff were not idle. There were certain changes in their cultivation. At this time, apart from Lin Yu and the others, the person with the highest cultivation in the Sky Desert universe was Lord Murderous Qi, who was in the four-symbol state. Qin Wunyan, Yang Kai, and the others had also reached the equalization state. According to this world's cultivation, the others were all below the human venerable realm. However, after entering this world, due to the changes in the environment, their strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Out of the city for an adventure. 3 people, 1 more human venerable realm brother. I've accepted a task to collect herbs. The reward is a bottle of grade 6 pills. 5 more people. Is there anyone who needs the corpse of a human venerable monster beast? At the south gate of the Heavenly Alliance City, there was a sea of people. There were people constantly hawking their goods and pulling people out of the city. All kinds of businesses made the place very lively. Sect. Alliance Master's idea is really good. Everyone's emotions are stirred up. Looking at the bustling city gate, Qin Ji's face was filled with joy. Previously, when Lin Yu suggested that they move into the city, she was actually a little worried. There were so many of them. Would they be able to adapt to a new environment after arriving in a new world? Moreover, according to Qin introduction, the combat power level of this world was one level higher than that of the Sky Desert universe. The Supreme Realm experts in the Sky Desert universe were equivalent to the human Venerable Realm in this world. They were very common. The Balanced Great Emperor Realm corresponded to the Balance Realm. They were also not rare. Qinji was worried that after arriving in this city, everyone would hide and not walk out of the city at all. However, it seemed that none of the problems she had imagined had occurred. Yimingwa nodded. She understood what Qinji meant. The reason why the Heavenly Alliance city was running so smoothly was because of Lin Yu's decision. For example, Lin Yu had specially set up a new organization to solve the problems that Qinji had been worried about. For example, there were many mission offices in the Heavenly Alliance city. They would issue various missions, such as exploring the surrounding areas, killing monster beasts, or collecting herbs. As long as they completed the missions, they would be able to obtain elixirs, weapons, cultivation techniques, and other rewards. In the process of completing various missions, everyone's strength would continue to increase. After their strength increased, they could continue to take on more difficult missions with better rewards. Moreover, Bei Mobing had previously led people to sweep the nearby area. At this time, the Heavenly Alliance city was the safest. At most, there would be some human venerable monster beasts that escaped the net. It was not dangerous for people who formed teams to leave the city. This formed a virtuous cycle. When a stronger monster beast gradually approached the Heavenly Alliance city, their cultivation level would be enough to deal with them. Chapter 9:12. As for directly distributing cultivation resources to everyone, Lin Yu did not even think about it. Although these people had joined the Heaven Alliance, free resources without hard work would only make them lazier and lazier. Their combat power would decrease, and they would gradually lose their fighting spirit, which would be harmful to them. All right, we've checked the situation at the 4 city gates. Let's go back and report to the Alliance Master. Qinji put away the book in her hand and suggested. However, Yimingwe only replied softly, "Okay." Qinji looked at her strangely. "What's wrong with you today? Why are you so quiet?" Qinji noticed that something was wrong with Yimingwe when they went to the first city gate. It was very different from usual. She finally couldn't help but ask. "Ah!" Yimingwe was stunned and blushed. "My throat hurts," Yimingwe said softly. Qinji looked at Yimingwe's neck strangely when she heard her answer. It was not like Yimingwe did not have any cultivation. Why would her throat hurt? Suddenly, Qinji's pretty face blushed and her eyes became strange. Her room was very close to Yimingwe's. She seemed to have vaguely heard Yimingwe leave her room late last night and didn't come back for a long time. Qinji wasn't clueless. Coupled with Yimingwe's strange behavior today, she immediately understood what was going on. Amazing. Qinji smiled meaningfully, which made Yimingwe want to hide immediately. At this moment, a few powerful auras suddenly appeared. The sound of the entire south gate of the Heaven Alliance city weakened. Huh? Qinji and Yimingwe looked towards the direction of the auras. They saw 4 middle-aged men with extraordinary auras slowly walking into the city gate. Although they didn't deliberately release their auras to intimidate everyone, the auras they revealed inadvertently already made everyone fearful. Many people hurriedly made way for them when they saw them walking over. There was a path in front of them. These 4 people are? Yimingwe looked at this scene and was confused. She couldn't sense Lin Yu's aura, but she knew that Qin, who had broken through to the 10,000 soul realm, didn't have such a powerful aura. Could it be that these people had reached the realm above the 10,000 soul realm? They're the family heads of the 4 families. At this moment, Qinji said, "Yesterday, after coming out from the Nirvana Heaven and Earth staff, the first thing she did was to understand the structure of this world. Naturally, she knew who these people in front of her were. The patriarchs of the 4 great clans." Yimingwe was shocked and nervous at the same time. They should be the strongest people in this place. Why did they gather in our Heavenly Alliance city? Although Yi Mingwei didn't try to find out more about them, she had heard about the four great families and knew how powerful they were. Qin Ji nodded. In the entire primitive continent, they are the top experts. At that moment, the four clan leaders had already walked through the gate. They were surprised to see the scene in the Heavenly Alliance city. If they remembered correctly, this was the first day that the Heavenly Alliance city was operating. It had actually developed in such an orderly manner, without any signs of disorder. Although the cultivation of the people in the city was not high, most of them were at the human sovereign realm. However, they all had extraordinary auras. They didn't know, in the Sky Desert universe, any one of these people who were not strong in their eyes might have been a sect leader of a big sect. Naturally, their auras were extraordinary. Why have you come to my Heavenly Alliance city? Suddenly, Yang Kai's figure flashed and stood in front of the four clan leaders. Yang Kai naturally knew the identities of these four people. However, he didn't know the relationship between these four people and Lin Yu. That was why he stood out. Although he was only at the Equilibrium realm, he didn't lose to these four old guys at the Spirit King realm in terms of aura. We are the patriarchs of the four great families. We are here to visit Qin, your alliance master, Nangong Zhan said in a deep voice. Nangong Zhan said in a deep voice. When he mentioned Lin Yu, he hesitated for a moment. In the end, he chose to address him as Alliance Master. At that moment, Yang Kai paused, and a voice transmission sounded in his ear. Follow me. Yang Kai nodded and turned to lead the way. At that moment, Qin Ji and Yi Mingyue also walked over. We are also going to see the Alliance Master. Let's go together. Looking at the two peerlessly beautiful women who had suddenly appeared, the four patriarchs had different expressions. Bei Mobing suddenly felt a sense of crisis. How could these two women be so beautiful? Moreover, they seemed to know Lin Yu. Coupled with Qin Yi and the other women who were with Lin Yu, Bei Mobing suddenly felt that the situation had become a little uncertain. He thought that his son-in-law was in the bag. However, the other three had the same thought. There were many women around Mr. Qin, so it seemed that they still had a chance. The three of them decided to quickly gather the women in their families after returning. Not long after, they entered the inner city along the road. The Alliance Master is inside. Yang Kai pointed to the tower in front and said to the four clan leaders. Then, he turned and walked into another building. Heavenly Alliance City had just been built, so each of them had a lot of things to do. Seeing the four clan leaders walk into the tower, Qin Ji and Yi Mingyue looked at each other and followed in. They were a little curious about why these four people with special identities were looking for Lin Yu. What happened then? At the same time, in the tower, Lin Yu was listening to Xia Bing's report. Alliance Master, according to the statistics of the people we sent, there are a total of 6,520 people from the Pill King Tower who joined us. Among them, 5,500 are alchemists. The rest are the guards of the Pill King Tower and Pill King Temple. Lin Yu tapped his finger on the table. How many alchemists are there for each grade? Have you calculated it? Yes. There are 4 grade 8 alchemists, 32 grade 7 alchemists, 140 grade 6 alchemists, 672 grade 5 alchemists, and grade 4 alchemists. After hearing this, Lin Yu raised his brow. The entire Pill King Tower doesn't have a single grade 9 alchemist. Although Lin Yu didn't have a deep understanding of the alchemists of the primitive continent and didn't know those famous high-grade alchemists, he had a rough guess. For example, the supreme Taoist of Dong Shengdao domain wasn't particularly old, but he could already refine grade 8 pills. It was impossible for the famous Pill King Tower to not have a grade 9 alchemist. Alliance Master, the Pill King Tower did have a grade 9 alchemist before, but he didn't agree to join the Heavenly Alliance. I was going to mention this to you later. Xia Bing looked at the data in her hand, her face a little ugly. From the data of the alchemists that she had investigated, she could indeed see many problems. Speak. Lin Yu nodded. Chapter 9:13. Although most of the original members of the Pill King Pagoda joined the Heaven Alliance, Most of them are not strong or have high alchemy skills. Only a small portion of the high-grade alchemists joined us. Xiaobing's voice was very cold. Although she did not like the choice of these people, she understood. Those low-grade alchemists did not mention making money in the early stage of alchemy. It was good enough that they did not lose money. Therefore, these people were very dependent on forces. With the support of resources, they could improve quickly. When they knew that the Pill King Pagoda had taken over, almost all of them agreed to join the Heaven Alliance. As for those alchemists who had reached the 6th, 7th, or even higher level, they were not short of money and would be treated as distinguished guests in any force. They did not choose to join the Heaven Alliance, which was a force they did not understand at all after careful consideration. There are 3 9th-level alchemists, 7 8th-level alchemists, 54 7th-level alchemists, and 6 6th-level alchemists who belong to the Pill King Pagoda but did not join the Heaven Alliance. Yes, Lin Yu's face was calm. He was not angry at all because of this data. He knew what these people were thinking. If not for his identity as the successor of the Pill King, most of the 8th and 7th level alchemists in the Heaven Alliance would not have chosen to join. People were all for benefits. As long as those alchemists saw the benefits, they would naturally come and would not be driven away. "How is the pill hall that I told you to clean up?" Xiaobing quickly said with a hint of excitement in her eyes. "It has been set up and can be used at any time." She had already guessed what Lin Yu was going to do. In this way, those alchemists who had not joined yet would definitely be attracted by the news. "Very good." Lin Yu grinned. "Go and inform all the alchemists who have joined the Heaven Alliance that tomorrow night I will teach alchemy skills. Everyone must be there. Those who do not belong to the Heaven Alliance are not allowed to enter." "Understood." Xiaobing nodded excitedly, then turned and left. She had to spread the news quickly. She could already predict what would happen after Lin Yu finished his first alchemy lesson. Just as Xiaobing left the room, the patriarchs of the 4 major clans walked in. The 4 of them had a strange expression. Why was the woman who just walked out of Lin Yu's room so beautiful? This was 2 patriarchs. "What business do you have with me?" Lin Yu smiled faintly, but did not get up. Qin Ji and Yi Mingwei came to Lin Yu and stood beside him like maids. When the 4 clan leaders saw this, they exchanged glances with each other and revealed a trace of shock. Lin Yu didn't even stand when he saw them come in person. What did this mean? They knew that Lin Yu was not an arrogant person. Previously, when he received the Elixir King's inheritance, he did not show any abnormalities when communicating with them. But now he had such an attitude. This meant that Lin Yu felt that even the 4 great clans were not on the same level as him. "I heard that Mr. Qin established a new faction. The few of us wanted to come here to experience it, but we discovered that not only is Mr. Qin's attainments in alchemy profound, even his methods of managing factions are first-rate too." Dong Wang Wu stepped forward and said. Hearing Dong Wang Wu's words, not only Qin Ji and Yi Mingyue were stunned, but the other 3 clan leaders also cast a strange look at him. Qin Ji and Yi Mingyue were surprised that Dong Wang Wu, as the clan leader of the 4 great clans, was so humble in front of Lin Yu. It could be said that he was simply flattering him. However, Nangong Zhan and the others thought that Dong Wang Wu's position had changed too quickly, especially Nangong Zhan. When he saw Lin Yu's attitude, he was ready to unite the 4 great clans to fight against him. He believed that in the face of the 4 great clans alliance, even Lin Yu, who was in charge of the elixir business, would be afraid of them. In this way, they could fight for more benefits. But he did not expect that Dong Wang Wu would act like this as soon as he came in. In addition, Bei Mobing regarded Lin Yu as his son-in-law, so he would definitely stand on Lin Yu's side. Nangong Zhan sighed in his heart. The front line of the 4 great clans had been broken before it started. Sure enough, after Dong Wang Wu finished speaking, Bei Mobing also stood out. "Mr. Qin, I have to say that I admire the Heavenly Alliance city. It has developed so well in such a short time. Also, I would like to ask Mr. Qin, when do you plan to start refining elixirs?" "Of course, I can refine elixirs at any time." Lin Yu smiled faintly. Patriarch of Dong Wang clan. I'm here. Hearing Lin Yu mention him, Dong Wang Wu's face lit up. What realm is Dong Wang patriarch in now? Although Lin Yu could see Dong Wang Wu's realm, he still asked. After all, no one would be able to see through his current body. Most likely, these patriarchs were already puzzled. If he were to reveal the cultivation levels of these people, it would definitely make them even more fearful. Early stage, Spirit King Realm, Human King Realm. The Spirit King Realm was divided into 3 small realms: the early stage Human King, the middle stage Yuan King, and the late stage Emperor. According to Lin Yu's estimation, the Dark Divine Priest should be at the late stage of Spirit King Realm, which was the Emperor Realm. He was the strongest person Lin Yu had met, except for the Six-Winged King. Dong Wang Wu said honestly, without considering anything else. After decades of fighting with each other, the 4 patriarchs had already seen through each other's cultivation levels. Except for Nangong Zhan, who had broken through to the middle stage of Spirit King Realm a while ago. The others were all at the early stage of Spirit King Realm. I have nothing to do tomorrow, so I can refine a celestial bright moon elixir. Patriarch of Dongwang clan, if you need it, send the herbs here. Lin Yu said calmly. Yes, yes, yes. Hearing this, Dongwang Wu nodded crazily, wishing he could take off his head and throw it away. The celestial bright moon elixir was a 9th grade elixir, and it was extremely difficult to refine. Even the older 9th grade alchemists on the primitive continent might not be able to refine it. Not to mention the herbs. Even if he had to take out 10% or 20% of the wealth that the Dongwang family had accumulated for countless years, he would be willing to do it. Master Qin, because of this 9th grade elixir, Dongwang Wu had completely fallen in love with it. He called Lin Yu Master Qin instead of Mr. Qin. But the herbs needed to refine the celestial bright moon elixir. Dongwang Wu's face turned red. Although he had heard of this elixir, he did not have the prescription, so he did not know what herbs were needed. Here you are. Lin Yu took out a piece of paper and flew it into Dongwang Wu's hand. Thank you, Master Qin. Thank you, Master Qin. Dongwang Wu held the paper, which was full of herbs, and thanked him repeatedly. Although there were a lot of herbs on the paper, which should be very expensive, Dongwang Wu did not hesitate at all. Because compared with the celestial bright moon elixir, the money was nothing. After thanking him, Dongwang Wu looked at the people around him with a proud look. It seemed that he was saying, "Are you jealous?" Noticing his look, Nangong Zhan and Shi Mingkue both cursed him in their hearts. This old fox was not good at other things, but he was really good at flattery. How could he be an expert of the Spirit King realm? Chapter 9:14. The next moment, the two of them spoke at the same time. Master Qin is indeed the successor of an elixir king. It's really a blessing for a genius like Master Qin to appear in the primitive continent. Master Qin can already refine 9th grade pills at such a young age. His future is limitless. I believe it won't be long before he breaks through to become an elixir king. Qin Ji and Yi Mingwei were dumbfounded by this scene. Were these the patriarchs of the 4 great families? Previously, when they were outside, they looked like experts and had such an imposing aura. But when they were in front of Lin Yu, they became so good at sucking up to him. Every time they opened their mouths, it was just flattery. Patriarchs, if there's nothing else, please return. Starting from the day after tomorrow, I will refine 10 bottles of pills for the 4 great families every 15 days. I will record the pills you need in order according to the requirements and send them here in advance. Lin Yu smiled faintly. The first family to help you refine pills is the Baimois family. The other 3 families will rotate every time. I will only refine 2 bottles of each pill at most, so if the other families need pills, you won't be able to get them this time. Understood, understood. Bei Mobing's face was full of surprise after hearing this. This was the benefit of the land he had previously given. This privilege was simply amazing, but he had already grasped the direction of pills. If he didn't want the other families to obtain a certain pill, then he only needed to report this pill every time, and the other families would never be able to obtain it. The other 3 also understood the huge benefits. Instantly, jealousy arose in their hearts, but they didn't dare to reveal it. If any of them offended Bay Mobing now, they would be in for a bad time. Right? The limit is 7th grade pills and below. You have to prepare your own ingredients. Lin Yu added. Although the 4 patriarchs were slightly disappointed, they weren't too surprised. Master Qin, that's natural. We all understand. They had already thought of this possibility. If they casually refined pills, they could obtain 8th grade and 9th grade pills just by providing the ingredients. If they sold them, the price would increase by dozens of times. How could there be such a good thing? Lin Yu wasn't worried that they would sell it for money. In any case, the pills were limited. Whether they used it or sold it had nothing to do with him. The most important thing was that grade 8 and grade 9 pills were too powerful. They could even affect Spirit King Realm cultivators, so he couldn't just give them away. Even if it was no longer difficult for Lin Feng to refine a Tier 9 pill, these pills could still be used as a reward. Lin Yu used the psychology of the 4 great clans to motivate them, just like how he had assigned tasks in the Heavenly Alliance city. In the past 100,000 years of reincarnation, Lin Yu had already seen through the hearts of various people. He was quite proficient in using this method. Master Qin, shall we take our leave first? The 4 patriarchs looked at each other and asked. Their only thought now was to hurry back and sort out the pills that were in short supply in the clan, especially the extremely rare 7th grade pills. This was because some 7th grade pills were extremely difficult to refine. Even a grade 8 alchemist would find it difficult to refine them. Since Lin Yu had only told them the grades of the pills and didn't have any other requirements, they naturally had to pick the most precious ones. Okay, Lin Yu nodded. The 4 patriarchs walked out of the tower. The other 3 immediately smiled at Bay Mobing. What are you old fellows trying to do? Bay Mobing asked with a vigilant expression. Although his Bay Mobing clan had always been ranked last among the 4 great clans, he had straightened his back this time. This was because the priority that Lin Yu had given him was enough to allow his Bay Mobing clan to rise. Brother Bay Mobing, what kind of pills are you planning to submit? We can also choose. We won't pick the same ones as you. Nangong Zhan smiled and said in a friendly tone. Shi Mingkue also smiled and said, Brother Bay Mobing, if you have any problems in the future, just come to me. Just wait until the second round of refining pills for my Shi Mingkue. Please be merciful. Seeing that the 2 of them began to show goodwill to Bay Mobing, Dongwang Wu didn't say too much. You guys keep chatting. I'm going back to prepare the herbs. After that, Dongwang Wu directly turned and ran to the east. He was going to return to the clan through the east gate and immediately gather people to collect the herbs according to the paper. Hearing Dongwang Wu's words, Bei Mobing and Shi Mingkue were a little envious. They had also been trapped in the early stage of the Spirit King realm for a long time, but without precious pills, it was really difficult to break through on their own. They knew that Dongwang Wu would definitely break through this time. His cultivation was already refined enough, and taking the Celestial Bright Moon pill would make him even more powerful. Let's go. Seeing this, Bei Mobing didn't want to talk to the other 2 anymore. He also turned and left. In this way, the 4 patriarchs scattered and hurried back to their clans to check the warehouse and collect the herbs in the tower. Seeing that the 4 patriarchs had left, Qin Ji began to report her previous observations. Leader, the situation at each city gate is very good. As you expected, many people have begun to form teams and go out to carry out the tasks they received. Some people are exchanging the corpses of demonic beasts and herbs at the city gate to complete their own tasks. Lin Yu nodded and was not surprised at all. This was because he was able to set up so many facilities with so many functions by reversing the current situation. What about the exchange? This time, it was Yi Mingwei who answered. Since the exchange opened in the morning, many people have collected and sold the herbs according to the price you gave before. However, Yi Mingyue's voice was a little hoarse. Lin Yu looked at her with amusement, and Yi Mingyue's pretty face immediately blushed. Seeing the interaction between the 2, Qin Ji confirmed her previous inference and laughed in her heart. Very good. Lin Yu looked away and continued. In the following days, I need you to continue to pay attention to the situation in the Heavenly Alliance city. If there are any changes, report to me at any time. Qingji asked curiously. Can I come any time? If you want to come at night, I have no problem. Lin Yu smiled. Hearing this answer, Qingji blushed and closed her mouth. And Yi Mingwei, I'll leave the resource statistics of the exchange to you. You need to make real-time records. Got it. Yi Mingwen nodded quickly. She understood what Lin Yu meant by real-time records. Every item included in the assets of the Heavenly Alliance City needed to be recorded in time, so that it would be more accurate. Although it was difficult, she believed that she could do it. Chapter 9:15. At the same time, Xia Bing returned to the Alchemy Hall. Unlike the dozens of alchemy pavilions in the city, there was only one alchemy hall in the entire Heavenly Alliance City. It was located in the inner city near the tower. The interior of the alchemy hall was like a lecture hall. It was extremely spacious and could easily accommodate tens of thousands of people. Everyone, the leader has given an order to inform all the alchemists who have joined the Heavenly Alliance in the King of Pills Tower that the leader will teach them personally tomorrow night. Xia Bing gathered everyone in the alchemy hall and announced the news. Everyone was excited when they heard the news. I heard that the leader has obtained the inheritance of a very powerful alchemist in this continent. I'm afraid his alchemy skills have increased by a lot. The alchemist you mentioned is called the King of Pills. It sounds very powerful. Can we listen to the leader's lecture at the side? Xia Bing nodded when she heard someone ask this question. Yes, as long as you're a member of the Heavenly Alliance, you can come and listen to the lecture. Everyone cheered when they heard the answer. The Heavenly Alliance City had just started to operate. Many people were gathered in various facilities. These people had not reached the human honorable realm. It was more dangerous for them to go out of the city to carry out missions. They could make use of the time they were working in the city to earn a salary to improve their cultivation. When they reached the human honorable realm, they could go out of the city to complete missions. This was also the solution that Lin Yu came up with when he considered the weaker group. Although the salary of an ordinary position could not be compared to the reward for completing missions, safety and stability were more important. As for the people working in the alchemy hall, most of them were low-level alchemists. They were excited when they knew that they could listen to Lin Yu's lecture. Go. The name list has been distributed. You must inform all of them by today. Xia Bing asked a lady beside her to distribute the booklets to everyone. These booklets recorded the alchemist who had joined the Heavenly Alliance from the King of Pills Tower. Yes, everyone took the booklets and hurriedly walked out. They knew the current rules of the Heavenly Alliance. The missions given to them must be within their abilities. As long as they did not slack off, they could complete them. Hence, they would be punished if they did not complete the mission on time. Their salary would be deducted, or they would be fired. The Heavenly Alliance did not raise useless people. Just as the news of Lin Yu's lecture in the Heavenly Alliance City was spreading, the clan leaders of the 4 great clans hurriedly went back to their clans to prepare the list of elixir pills. They did not only of the elixir of the clan's elixir of pills. The elixir on the list elixir of pills 10 was. The leaders of the clan of pills of the clans of pills of the Heavenly Alliance clan leaders. With only one day to prepare, the 4 great clans immediately sent out many people to count the number of elixirs in their stock. They also asked the alchemists in their clans to analyze the elixirs so that they could come up with the most suitable list for Lin Yu. Beima clan, meeting hall. Of. Beima Yu walked in with an uneasy expression, just like what Lin Yu had seen when he first came to the Beima family. Beima Bing favored males over females, so Yuji Kidami was rarely called to the meeting hall to participate in such meetings. Usually, when Bei Mobing needed a junior to do something, he would call Bei Mobing Yunlei to the meeting hall and let him handle it. Could it be that father knew that he had severely injured Bei Ma Yunlei and wanted to punish him in front of everyone today? Seeing the elders sitting on both sides of the meeting hall, Yuji Kitami couldn't help but guess. She couldn't help but feel grief and indignation in her heart. She was obviously better than Bei Mo Yunlei in all aspects, but it was useless. Her father still favored Bei Mo Yunlei. There was a hint of joy on Bei Mobing's face. At this moment, his mood was extremely good. The benefits brought about by the preferential selection of medicinal pills far exceeded his initial imagination. He only used a piece of barren land to exchange for all this. It was a huge profit. Bei Mobing knew that the reason Lin Yu gave this opportunity to the Beimois family was definitely because of Yuja Kitami. Now that he saw Yuja Kitami, he was naturally overjoyed. This was their Beimois family's fortune. As for the bedridden Bei Mobing Yunlei, he had long been thrown to the back of his mind. You're nothing but a good-for-nothing, yet you still curse your father with your crow's beak every day. You should just obediently lie down on the bed. Seeing this scene, Bei Mayu had a puzzled expression. Bei Mobing didn't seem to be angry. Although she didn't know why, it seemed that what they were going to talk about today had nothing to do with Bei Mayunlei. If Bei Mobing knew that she had beaten Bei Mayunlei to such a state, he wouldn't treat her like this. You probably don't know yet. Mr. Qin's city has already been built, and a faction called the Heaven Alliance has been established. Bei Mobing knew that his daughter rarely paid attention to such matters, so he specially mentioned it. So fast, Yuja Kitami was astonished, and then she felt a little worried. Previously, she and the rest of the four great families had only thought that Lin Yu was planning to take over the Pill King Pagoda. She hadn't thought that he would establish a new faction. Now that Lin Yu had abandoned the four great families to establish a new faction, wouldn't it infuriate the four great families and punish him together? When Yuja Kitami thought of this situation, she was about to ask her father to stand on Lin Yu's side when she heard Bei Mobing continue. And Master Qin will refine pills for us. So when we check the medicinal pill inventory in our family, go and count the pills that we lack the most. The pills are limited to 7th grade and below. There are a total of 10 bottles, at most 2 bottles of each type. Because the Beimois family had the right to refine pills first, Bei Mobing didn't need to think too much. Now, the other 3 great families were thinking about what pills the Beimois family would choose to refine in order to avoid choosing the same pills as the Beimois family. On the other hand, they were continuously contacting the spies they had planted in the Beimois family, preparing to spy on the list that the Beimois family was planning to submit. When Yuja Kitami heard this, she was instantly stunned. Bei Mobing's words were far from what she had imagined. She had already prepared to ask for help. I understand. Yuja Kitami nodded and sighed in relief at the same time. Although she didn't know how Lin Yu had done it, it was good that he was fine. Just as Yuja Kitami was about to turn and leave, she heard Bei Mobing's voice again. I know about your younger brother's injury. Yuja Kitami was alarmed. It seemed that she couldn't avoid this matter. Based on Bei Mobing's attitude towards her in the past, the punishment this time would definitely not be light. At the very least, she would be grounded for a few months. Although being grounded for a few months was nothing, not being able to see young Master Qin for such a long time. Young Master Qin wouldn't have forgotten about her, right? As Yuja Kitami's thoughts were running wild, she heard Bei Mobing's voice again. Yinlei really doesn't know how to speak. Well beaten. Teach him a lesson. Next time, if he dares to say those things again, beat him to death. It's fine as long as he's still alive. When Bei Mobing said this, not only was Yuja Kitami dumbfounded, even the surrounding elders were dumbfounded. The clan leader had always doted on his son. What was going on? Yuja Kitami responded in a daze. She only returned to her senses when she walked out of the meeting hall. Such a situation had never happened before. What was wrong with her father today? Although Yuja Kitami couldn't guess the exact reason, she vaguely felt that today's abnormal situation definitely had something to do with Lin Yu. After Yuja Kitami left, an elder asked in confusion, "Clan leader, I heard that Yunlei was beaten very badly by that girl and has to be bedridden for a long time. Aren't you going to punish him a little?" Bei Mobing snorted coldly. That punk cursed Master Qin to not be my son-in-law. It's good enough that I didn't beat him up myself. The elders finally understood and nodded their heads in agreement. Who didn't know that Bei Mobing valued Master Qin very much and was afraid that this son-in-law would run away. From the looks of it, Bei Mobing and Yun Lei had fallen out of favor. Chapter 9:16. That evening, all the alchemists who had joined the Heaven Alliance received a piece of news. The Elixir King's successor, Master Qin, who is also the current leader of the Heaven Alliance, would give a lecture in the Heaven Alliance city tomorrow. However, the lecture was only for those who had joined the Heaven Alliance. Suddenly, the entire alchemist circle was stirred up. Not only those who had joined the Heaven Alliance, but also those who had not. Even those who had not joined the Elixir King Tower began to discuss it. Ha ha! Indeed, I made the right choice to join the Heaven Alliance. This time, Master Qin will give a lecture personally. There must be a lot of benefits. Let's not think too much. I admit that Master Qin's alchemy skills are high, but it doesn't mean that his teaching ability is also high. That's right. Moreover, Master Qin has only obtained the Elixir King's legacy. His skills are far from the original Elixir King. There are still grade 8 and grade 9 alchemists among us. Does he really think that he can teach us? Stop arguing. After tomorrow, we'll know how Master Qin's lecture is. For a moment, there were all kinds of opinions in the alchemist circle regarding this news. Some were happy. Some felt that Lin Yu was not qualified. Publicly teaching alchemy skills was just asking for humiliation. However, they could not get an answer based on this news alone. In the end, everyone decided. After tomorrow's lecture, the conclusion would naturally be revealed. The next day, many people came to the Heaven Alliance city. Among them were alchemists who came to attend the lecture. There were also people who came to visit the Heaven Alliance city after hearing the news. Although some alchemists did not join the Heaven Alliance city, they still came. They want to know everyone's evaluation after the lecture. At the same time, the 4 great families sent people to deliver the list of elixir pills and herbs. Because tomorrow was the day that Lin Yu would refine elixir pills for them. The people sent by the 4 great families gathered at the foot of the tower. This time, although the family leaders did not come personally, they sent their elders. Only the Baimois family was different. Yuji Kitami looked at the scene in the Heaven Alliance city and was shocked. In just a few days, the Heavenly Alliance city had grown from nothing and developed to such an extent. It was amazing. The Alliance Master said that the 4 great clans only need to send 1 person each. At this time, a person walked out of the tower and announced to the people of the 4 great families surrounding the tower. As expected, Yuji Kitami walked in with the elders of the other 3 families. The tower had a total of 10 floors, and if they wanted to see Lin Yu, they had to go all the way to the top floor. During this process, they discovered that the tower was like a machine that was in operation. Many people were busy in the tower. Some of them had light screens in front of them, which showed the real-time changes of various data in the Heavenly Alliance city, such as the number of people in the city, the number of resources, and so on. The elders of the clans were shocked when they saw this scene. The management of the Heavenly Alliance city was too strict. This kind of control had never appeared in the 4 great clans. Yuji Kitami once again felt the mystery of Lin Yu. Although no one told her that the Heavenly Alliance city was related to Lin Yu, she subconsciously felt that only Lin Yu could do all this. After the 4 of them walked into the guest room, they saw Lin Yu. Master Qin, we're here to deliver the list of elixir pills. The medicinal materials used to refine these elixir pills have been transported to the city. The elder of the Nangong family took the lead to speak. Okay. Lin Yu nodded and then looked at the others. The others, including Yuji Kitami, also spoke of their intentions. Lin Yu pressed a button and sat calmly without any intention to speak. From the beginning to the end, he had no intention of asking them to sit down. The elders also looked normal and did not care about this matter at all. Yuji Kitami had not seen Lin Yu for several days. Naturally, she was very happy to see him this time. She could not wait to chat with Lin Yu immediately. However, because there were other elders in the room, she could only look at Lin Yu. However, when Yuji Kitami found that Lin Yu did not pay attention to her at all, she could not help but feel jealous. After not seeing him for a few days, he did not miss her at all? Scoundrel. Not long after, Xia Bing walked in. Leader, what's your order? The medicinal materials from the 4 great clans have been delivered. take some people to receive them, and then compile their list. Sort out which elixir pills I need to refine. Lin Yu handed the list of the 4 great clans to Xia Bing. On these lists, only the Beima clan had properly recorded the quantity of 10 bottles of elixir pills. Because the Beima clan was the first to refine, there was no need to consider the other clans. For example, the Shiming clan, which was last in line this time, had more than 20 types of elixir pills on the list. They were afraid that the elixir pills they had chosen would have been refined by other clans. In the end, they could not even gather 10 bottles of elixir pills. Wouldn't that be a waste of this opportunity? Understood. Xia Bing took the list and nodded. Lin Yu thought for a while and continued. The alchemy hall can be opened now. Those who want to enter can go in. Although there was still some time before he started teaching, according to the registration at the city gate, most of the alchemists had already entered the Heavenly Alliance city. Okay. After listening to the instructions, Xia Bing walked out of the reception room. Yuji Kitami saw this scene and felt jealous again. She had not seen Lin Yu for a few days. How come there was another woman by his side? She had just arrived and had not seen Qin Ji and the others at this time. The Dongwang family's elder asked eagerly. I also heard that Master Qin is going to teach. I wonder if we have a chance? In addition to his identity as the Dongwang family's elder, he had another identity, which was a level 5 alchemist. However, due to the restrictions of his family's identity, he did not choose to join the Tower of Pill Kings. This time, he naturally did not have a chance to join the Heavenly Alliance. However, after hearing that Lin Yu was going to teach, he was very much looking forward to it. After all, Master Qin was someone that even their clan leader respected greatly. With Master Qin's attainments in alchemy, if he could go in and teach Master Qin casually, he would be enlightened. He might even be able to break through the level 6 alchemist realm that had troubled him for many years in one fell swoop. I'm afraid not. This time, the teaching is only for our Heavenly Alliance. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Although his voice was not loud, the meaning behind it was not to be rejected. Okay. Hearing this answer, the Dongwang family's elder was a little disappointed, but he still responded respectfully. He had already guessed that Lin Yu would not agree, but he still could not help but ask, thinking that what if he agreed? As for getting angry after being rejected, that was absolutely impossible. Until now, seeing the attitude of their respective clan leaders, these family elders had already known about Lin Yu's status. It was far beyond their reach. If he really offended Lin Yu, perhaps his head would be sent to Lin Yu by the clan leader the next day. When Yuji Kitami heard this, she pursed her lips as if she was thinking about something. Chapter 9:17. The list of pills from the 4 great clans had already been handed over. Logically speaking, they should have taken their leave. But the elders looked at each other, having no intention of leaving at all. Lin Yu's lips curled into a smile as he saw through it at a glance. Sure enough, the Nangong family's elder hesitated for a moment, but still stepped forward. Master Qin, this is a token of our Nangong family's sincerity. The Nangong family took out 2 golden balls of light and handed them to Lin Yu with both hands. Looking over, they were shockingly 2 10,000 soul seals. Moreover, from the aura they emitted, the quality of these 10,000 soul seals was not ordinary. Among Earth-grade pills, they were considered high-grade. All right, then I'll accept them. Lin Yu nodded and took them with a wave of his hand. At this time, the elders of the other 2 clans also stepped forward. Master Qin, our Dongwang family also prepared a token of our sincerity for you. Master Qin, please accept them. Another 4 10,000 soul seals were in Lin Yu's hands. Although Lin Yu did not mention that he needed to be paid for refining pills when he was conversing with the 4 clan elders, with their intelligence, how could they let the elders of their clans come empty-handed? Moreover, they specially inquired about many things. Only then did they know that Lin Yu had been collecting 10,000 soul seals when he was temporarily staying with the Beima family. Thus, they specially chose to send the 10,000 soul seal over this time. After the elders of the 3 clans handed over the 10,000 soul seals, they saw that Yuji Kitami still had not moved. They all thought that she did not come with a gift this time. Perhaps the Baima family felt that Mr. Chin had already given them priority in choosing pills, so they thought highly of themselves and let her come empty-handed. The three elders inwardly shook their heads. The Baima family's actions this time were clearly somewhat unwise. Since Master Chin could give them special privileges, he could also take them back. In that case, maybe after a few times, it would be their clan's turn to have the priority to choose the medicinal pills. The few of them were secretly delighted. Yuji Kitami was stunned when she saw this scene. Then, she recalled the 10,000 soul seal that Bei Mobing had given her when she left the family. So her father had already expected this. Master Chin, the Baima clan also has something to give you. Yuji Kitami stepped forward and said softly. Although she still called Lin Yu young Master Chin in private, she still had to address him respectfully in this kind of situation, because she was currently representing the entire Northern Hua clan. Yuji Kitami stared intently into Lin Yu's eyes, as if she was trying to figure something out. What is it? Lin Yu looked at her and said calmly. Yuji Kitami blushed as she stared into his deep and calm eyes. Master Chin, please take a look. 10,000 soul seals appeared in front of everyone, and one of them emitted an extraordinary aura. Heaven grade 10,000 soul seal, the Nangong family elder exclaimed. Although the four great clans were the overlords of the primitive continent and controlled 90% of the continent's resources, something as rare as the 10,000 soul seal was still a scarce resource. This could be seen from the fact that Yuji Kitami, as the young mistress of the Baima clan, only used an Earth-grade 5-colored phoenix. But the Baima clan had actually taken out a Heaven-grade 10,000 soul seal to give to Lin Yu. They were really too generous. Although the 10,000 soul seals that the three clans had taken out were of good quality, none of them had reached Heaven grade. Lin Yu smiled faintly and accepted the 10,000 soul seals. He praised Bei Mobing in his heart. Bei Mobing really knew how to seize opportunities. At this time, Yuji Kitami was already a little angry. She had stared into Lin Yu's eyes to intimidate him, but she hadn't expected herself to shrink back first. How humiliating. Just as Yuji Kitami was about to continue looking at Lin Yu, she heard Lin Yu's calm voice. I still have a lesson in a while. If there's nothing else, you can leave. Yuji Kitami, stay behind for a while. Hearing this, Yuji Kitami's heart, which had just calmed down, tensed up again, and her heartbeat sped up. Why did Lin Yu insist on leaving her behind? What was he planning to do? As if thinking of something bad, Yuji Kitami's face flushed red. Okay, Master Chin, goodbye. The other three elders hurriedly responded, then quickly turned and left. With their experience, they naturally understood the meaning in Lin Yu's words. But what was Lin Yu planning to do by leaving Bei Mobing's daughter behind? Could it be that the two of them really had that kind of relationship that was rumored outside? As they left, they glanced curiously at Yuji Kitami. The meaning contained in this glance made Bei Mayu even more embarrassed. Come here. After they left, Lin Yu spoke calmly. Yuji Kitami had imagined countless times that she would ignore Lin Yu when she saw him. It was his fault for not coming to find her. But when Lin Yu called her, Yuji Kitami obediently walked over. Young Master Chin, Yuji Kitami said softly. Do you have something to say to me? Seeing Yuji Kitami's hesitation, Lin Yu smiled faintly. I want to listen to young Master Chin's lesson. Yuji Kitami finally said this. When the Dongwang family elder had mentioned this, she had already had this idea. Oh, Lin Yu let out a soft sound of surprise. I can listen to the lesson, but what benefits will it bring me? Yuji Kitami's heart trembled when she heard this. What benefits? Lin Yu couldn't be hinting at that, right? This bad guy. He already had another woman, but he was still thinking about her. Just as Yuji Kitami was thinking about what to say, she saw Lin Yu smile faintly. Follow behind me during the lesson. Yuji Kitami was taken aback and immediately understood what he meant. Was he asking her to serve Lin Yu tea like a maid? You're not willing? Then, I'm willing. Seeing that Lin Yu was about to change his mind, Yuji Kitami hurriedly spoke up. Lin Yu smiled faintly. From the moment Yuji Kitami came to watch him today, Lin Yu had already figured out what Yuji Kitami was thinking. Coupled with his skillful methods, he naturally had Yuji Kitami under control. Chapter 918. Leader. Yi Mingwei ran in from outside. This is the list of the changes of all the resources in the Heavenly Alliance city yesterday. Yi Mingwei was slightly stunned when she saw Yuji Kitami standing beside Lin Yu. However, she still walked over and handed the list to Lin Yu. However, her eyes were fixed on Yuji Kitami, and she was checking her up and down. From what she saw when she entered the room, this curvy woman seemed to have a close relationship with Lin Yu. During this period of time, Lin Yu had not only hooked up with the girl she had met before, but he had also hooked up with someone else. Yi Mingwei pouted. Just as Yi Mingwei was observing her, Yuji Kitami also looked over. How many women had appeared beside Lin Yu? Not to mention how many of them there were, they were all extremely beautiful. Yuji Kitami was jealous. Lin Yu picked up the list and looked at it carefully. From this list, the prices in the Heavenly Alliance city have stabilized. According to the amount of resources, we can adjust the selling price slightly. After a while, Lin Yu said faintly. Although there was a thick stack of the list, Lin Yu had picked out the representative resources and compared them. Therefore, it did not take much time. Moreover, after removing the messy data, the conclusion would be more accurate. At least from this report, Lin Yu knew that the development of the Heavenly Alliance city was very smooth. If this continued, all the facilities would be opened according to the plan. Understood. Yi Mingwei was delighted when she heard that. She was in charge of the resources in the Heavenly Alliance city. Lin Yu's words were a compliment to her in disguise. I'll go back and arrange for people to calculate the new price list. Okay. Yi Mingwei ran out excitedly. However, she did not forget to look at Yuji Kitami before she left. When there were only the two of them left in the room, Yuji Kitami opened her mouth slightly. Who is she? She's the treasurer of the Heavenly Alliance. She's similar to the elder who manages resources in your family. Lin Yu said calmly. Yuji Kitami was stunned. That was not what she wanted to ask. She wanted to know the relationship between Lin Yu and that woman. Yuji Kitami snorted softly. With Lin Yu's intelligence, how could he not know what she wanted to ask? His answer was clearly that he didn't want to tell her. Too evil. Yuji Kitami didn't continue asking. She was smart enough to know that asking too much would damage her image in Lin Yu's heart. All right, don't forget to look for me before the class starts. Otherwise, you won't be able to enter by yourself. Yuji Kitami snorted, nodded, and left the room. Lin Yu checked the 10,000 soul seals that he had received before. Apart from the 3 from the Baimoff family, the other families had given him 2 each. In total, there were 9 seals. Even if the breakthrough wasn't 100% successful, it should be enough for Qin and the others to break through to the middle stage of the 10,000 soul realm. As for the rest of the people in the Sky Desert universe, Lin Yu didn't use the unity of heaven and man talisman to increase their cultivation, so they couldn't touch the 10,000 soul realm for the time being. Therefore, the Heavenly Alliance didn't need the 10,000 soul seal for the time being. Soon it was evening. During this period, Xia Bing came to look for Lin Yu twice. They were all reporting about the situation in the alchemy hall. Before Xia Bing's last visit, 90% of the alchemists who received the notice had already entered the alchemy hall, even though there were still 4 hours before Lin Yu's lecture. It could be seen how much everyone was looking forward to Lin Yu's class this time. It's about time. Lin Yu got up and walked out of the tower. Hello, Alliance Leader. Greetings, Alliance Leader. On the way out, Lin Yu attracted many people's attention. Now that he was the Alliance Leader of the Heavenly Alliance with millions of members, everyone was naturally very respectful to him. After walking out of the tower, Lin Yu immediately saw the beautiful figure outside. Although the sky was getting dark, it couldn't hide Yuji Kitami's curvaceous figure at all. Young Master Qin. Yuji Kitami had been staring at the door of the tower. When she saw Lin Yu's figure, she immediately ran over happily. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Let's go. Okay. Yuji Kitami nodded and then asked curiously, I heard that there will be many alchemists coming to listen to the class later. Aren't you nervous, young Master Qin? What do you think? Lin Yu shrugged. His face was calm, and no other emotions could be seen. Young Master Qin, you're really amazing, Yuja Kitami said with some admiration. She knew that Lin Yu was very strong both in terms of battle prowess and attainments in alchemy. However, there were some things that couldn't be represented by strength. For example, some people in her clan were clearly at the 10,000 spirit realm, but they still couldn't hold the position of elder. That was because those people didn't have the temperament of an elder. Even if they took the position, they couldn't control the other clansmen. It was extremely rare for someone at Lin Yu's age to be able to remain calm in such a big occasion. At least, Yuji Kitami had been nervous the entire afternoon after knowing that she was going to go on stage with Lin Yu. Lin Yu brought Yuji Kitami all the way to the alchemy hall. As for the clansmen who had followed her to the Heavenly Alliance city to transport the herbs, she had already sent them back. Firstly, she wanted them to report the day's situation to Bay Mobing. Secondly, Yuji Kitami didn't like people following behind her all the time. F***CK. Master Qin is here. Let me in quickly. The class is about to start. I can't wait to listen to Master Qin's class. Why is there a woman behind Master Qin? Who is that woman? You don't even know her. She's the young mistress of the Bay Mobing clan, Yuja Kitami. This Qin Wunyan is young and doesn't seem to have any cultivation. He actually invited all the alchemists who joined the Heavenly Alliance to listen to his class. He's too arrogant. That's right. It's one thing to be strong in alchemy and another to teach others how to refine pills. This time, the Heavenly Alliance didn't invite me, but I still came. I wanted to see how everyone would evaluate him after the class. At this moment, the entrance of the alchemy hall was filled with people. When they saw Lin Yu, they immediately started discussing. Most of the people who were qualified to enter the alchemy hall to listen to the class had already entered. Therefore, most of the people outside were here to watch the show. Their attitudes towards Lin Yu's class were mixed. Lin Yu smiled and ignored the people outside. He directly walked into the alchemy hall with Yuji Kitami. Greetings, Alliance leader. The guards of the alchemy hall noticed Lin Yu and bowed. One of them saw Yuji Kitami and wanted to check her identity, but he was immediately pushed aside by his companions. You want to check someone that the Alliance leader personally brought? Isn't this cheating everyone? After Lin Yu and Yuji Kitami entered, the other guards all looked at that person as if he was an idiot. That person touched his head awkwardly. He was also stunned at that moment. If it happened again, he definitely wouldn't have such thoughts. Fortunately, the Alliance leader didn't intend to pursue the matter. Just as the guard heaved a sigh of relief, Lin Yu walked into the alchemy hall with Yuji Kitami and turned into a room on the right. Xia Bing and a few people from the alchemy hall were waiting for Lin Yu in the room. When they saw him, they quickly stood up. Alliance leader, Lin Yu smiled slightly. Is everyone here? Almost everyone is here. There are less than 10 people left. They should be here before the class starts. Xia Bing looked at the name list in her hand and reported to Lin Yu. Good. Chapter 919. Lin Yu was not surprised at all when he heard this answer. The people who were invited this time were all alchemists who had joined the Heaven Alliance. Furthermore, Lin Yu, the successor of the Pill King, was teaching for free. It was very attractive to these alchemists. The few people who had taken up positions in the Pill Hall looked at Lin Yu with respect. However, they were a little surprised when they noticed Beima Yu's figure. Could this be the Alliance Master's disciple? From the looks of it, the Alliance Master was planning to bring her on stage. Because this was the preparation room of the Pill Hall, one could walk directly to the lecture hall from the other door in this room. Ordinary people would not come here. Xia Bing recognized Yuji Kitami as the guest that Lin Yu had received during the day. Out of some kind of woman's intuition, Xia Bing paid special attention to her at that time. Alliance Master, this is... she. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows and looked at Yuji Kitami with a smile. It was as if he was asking her to reveal her identity. Just as Yuji Kitami was avoiding his gaze and feeling a little embarrassed, she heard Lin Yu continue speaking. She's my maidservant. She's in charge of serving me tea. Hiss. The few people in the pill hall sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard this. As expected of the Alliance Master, even the maidservant he chose was so stunning. Seeing everyone's reaction, Yuji Kitami was already blushing. As the young mistress of the Baimoff family, everyone had always been respectful to her. When had anyone ever treated her like a maidservant? Now, she had actually become Lin Yu's maidservant. Furthermore, she had to serve him tea in front of tens of thousands of people. Yuji Kitami wailed in her heart. However, she did not dare to go back on her promise to Lin Yu. She was afraid that he would think that she was a woman who did not keep her promise. Although the people in the pill hall did not notice, Xia Bing felt a little strange. Xia Bing smiled faintly. Alliance leader, I'm in charge of the alchemy hall. During the lesson, I'll naturally be responsible for serving tea. Xia Bing thought to herself. This woman had come with the 4 great clans during the day and was able to enter the tower on behalf of her clan. Her status was definitely not low. Now, in order to stay by Lin Yu's side, she was willing to disguise herself as a maid. She must be up to something. Lin Yu smiled, but didn't say anything. Instead, he looked at Yuji Kitami. Hearing Xia Bing's words, Yuji Kitami was stunned. How could someone compete with her for the position of maid? Yuji Kitami could feel Lin Yu's gaze on her. She bit her lip and stepped forward. Sister, don't worry. Leave the job of taking care of the Alliance leader to me. After saying this, Yuji Kitami's pretty face was so red that it looked like blood was oozing out. She never thought that there would be a day when she would compete with someone to be a maid. Although it was a little embarrassing to serve Lin Yu in front of everyone, Yuji Kitami's competitive spirit was ignited when she saw another woman competing with her. Furthermore, this woman's appearance made Yuji Kitami feel a sense of crisis. Seeing 2 beautiful women competing to be Lin Yu's maid, and one of them was even their leader, the people in the alchemy hall were dumbfounded. Xia Bing had always been strict with them. If there were any problems with work, she would mercilessly punish them. Who would have thought that there would be such a side to her? Seeing that Baima Yuer had rejected her, Xia Bing knew that she couldn't convince her, so she turned to look at Lin Yu. At the same time, Yuji Kitami also looked at Lin Yu. Both of them wanted Lin Yu to make a decision. Stop fooling around, Lin Yu said indifferently. Xia Bing, this is the first lesson in the alchemy hall. I don't know if there will be any unexpected situations. You have to watch closely. If there are any problems, deal with it immediately. Understood. Hearing these words, Xia Bing restrained her thoughts and hurriedly replied. Yuji Kitami also lowered her head and obediently stood behind Lin Yu. Seeing the 2 women's reactions, the people in the alchemy hall sighed again. As expected of the leader, 15 minutes later, it was time for the lesson. Lin Yu brought Yuji Kitami in through another door. Seeing that Lin Yu had left, Xia Bing turned around and looked at the few people indifferently. The few of you. When the people in the alchemy hall saw this, they immediately straightened their backs. Xia Bing's lips curled into a smile, but her voice was cold. If anyone dares to spread what happened just now, don't blame me for being impolite. Hearing these words, the few of them shuddered and nodded repeatedly. They had seen the way Xia Bing punished those people and did not doubt the authenticity of her words at all. If this matter were to spread, all of them here would probably. On the other side, when Lin Yu and Yuji Kitami walked into the lecture hall, the voices in the hall instantly weakened. Master Qin is here. Everyone, lower your voices. I'm too excited. I wonder if Master Qin will share the knowledge in the Alchemy King's inheritance with us. Stop dreaming. Besides, you're 4th grade alchemist. Even if the Alchemy King's inheritance was placed in front of you, you wouldn't be able to understand it. What's going on? Isn't that woman the young mistress of the Baima clan? Why is she with Master Qin? She was the one who attended the Grand Alchemy meeting with Great Master Qin. Perhaps they came to teach together. That's impossible. Yuji Kitami is only a 7th grade alchemist. There are 8th grade alchemists among us. Why would they let her teach? Everyone discussed in low voices. After noticing Yuji Kitami's figure, they were even more confused. Most of the alchemists in the Alchemy Hall were from the Alchemy King's Tower. Unlike the people in the Sky Desert universe, They were naturally aware of Yuja Kitami's identity, so they were even more curious. Lin Yu walked to the wooden table in the lecture hall and sat down calmly. "Welcome to the lecture, everyone. I hope everyone can learn something." Lin Yu smiled faintly. The audience applauded to welcome him. Although Lin Yu looked younger than most of the people present, no one dared to look down on him. The person in front of them was not only the Alchemy King's successor, but also the leader of a new and powerful force, the Heaven Alliance. However, the next scene made everyone's eyes widen. Yuja Kitami walked to the table, bowed, and poured Lin Yu a cup of tea. Then, she stood behind him. F***CK. Am I seeing things? Is that person really Yuja Kitami? I also suspect that there's something wrong with my eyes. The young mistress of the Beima clan is personally pouring tea for the leader like a maid. The leader is too ruthless. Suddenly, the hall was filled with discussion. Previously, they were still guessing why Yuja Kitami followed them. Now they understood. Lin Yu picked up the teacup and took a sip. He didn't speak, but his aura made the surrounding voices lower. Chapter 920. Everyone knew that the lecture was about to begin. At this moment, Yuji Kitami's face was completely red. Seeing that Lin Yu's lecture had attracted everyone's attention, she hurriedly looked at him gratefully. If it weren't for Lin Yu's aura, everyone would still be talking about her. We all know that the most basic skill in alchemy is control, and this ability is very important even after becoming a high-grade alchemist. Control is directly related to, although Lin Yu's voice was calm, it immediately attracted the nods of everyone below the podium. Even Beima Yuer, who was behind him, cast aside her other thoughts and focused her gaze on Lin Yu, carefully listening to what he was saying. Of course, control is not easy to improve. Only after experiencing countless alchemy will there be a slight increase. However, I want to tell everyone that alchemy is not the only way to improve control. Lin Yu raised his right hand, and a flame appeared in the palm of his hand. As soon as the flame appeared, everyone immediately felt its aura. What a powerful flame! Under everyone's shocked gazes, the flame in Lin Yu's hand began to dance and change into various shapes, as if it was a living creature. Even the 8th-grade alchemists present couldn't help but nod when they saw this scene. Even they couldn't control the flame so skillfully. As expected of the person who received the Elixir King's inheritance, he was indeed extraordinary. Even if you're not alchemy, as long as you use your divine consciousness to control the flame, it can also be used to train your control. Lin Yu withdrew his hand and recalled the flame, smiling slightly. As for how strong Lin Yu's control was, it was needless to say. Otherwise, how could he control the powerful tin-colored flame and the Emperor's fire, not to mention alchemy, without a furnace? In addition to control, there are many other factors that affect the strength of alchemy, Lin Yu explained to everyone as he demonstrated from time to time. Compared to the other realms, alchemy was more prosperous in the primitive continent. However, there had never been such a conference to impart alchemy skills. All the skills needed to be pondered by alchemists themselves. Some of the experiences could only be imparted to their disciples by masters. As for outsiders, they could forget about it. Therefore, Lin Yu's lecture was an eye-opener for everyone. The lesson will end here. 2 hours later, Lin Yu said these words, and the alchemy hall was filled with thunderous applause. Now, everyone admired Lin Yu from the bottom of their hearts. He was willing to share such precious experience and skills with everyone for free. Lin Yu smiled faintly as he looked at the excited expressions of the people below. It seemed that the effect of this lesson was not bad. 2 hours was not a long time. The content that was taught just now was just a drop in the ocean compared to what was stored in Lin Yu's mind. But to these people, it was extremely precious, allowing them to benefit greatly. Master Qin is too amazing. I thought for a long time, but couldn't figure out a problem. But Master Qin enlightened me with just a few words. I feel like Master Qin is the reincarnation of the Alchemy King. He actually knows so much. Yeah, I thought I wouldn't be able to learn anything here as a 7th-grade alchemist. But now, I realized that Master Chin's lecture actually solved the doubts I had for a long time. Everyone discussed animatedly. They were all excited and couldn't wait to go back and try out what they just heard. Next is the question and answer session. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand. Just as Lin Yu finished speaking, many people raised their hands. This was a special solution for the questions raised. It was more important for the individual. After all, everyone here had been in alchemy for many years. There were bound to be some unanswered questions in their hearts. You come. Lin Yu used his spiritual will to transmit his voice into the ears of a middle-aged alchemist who raised his hand. Thank you, Master Chin. The middle-aged alchemist was stunned. Then he stood up excitedly. Everyone around him looked at him enviously. This guy was too lucky. Out of so many people, he was chosen. Master Chin, I've been a fourth-grade alchemist for a long time. I can brew most fourth-grade dawn. Although my success rate is not high, I have never succeeded in brewing the cleansed marrow dan. I still can't find the problem, the middle-aged alchemist said with a face full of confusion. His talent in alchemy was not bad. Being able to become a fourth-grade alchemist at his age was enough to prove it. However, the cleansed marrow dan was an extremely important dan. He had been unable to brew the cleansed marrow dan and was stuck at the fourth-grade alchemist level. He couldn't advance any further. Even though he had visited some high-ranking alchemists and observed their brewing techniques, he still couldn't brew the cleansed marrow dan. Now that he had the chance, he naturally asked the question that had been bothering him for a long time. The cleansed marrow dan. Lin Yu smiled faintly. I'll demonstrate it for you once. Observe carefully at which step your pill is different from mine. The young alchemist nodded, but he was a little disappointed. This was because he had watched many high-ranking alchemists brew the cleansed marrow dan. However, because of the cauldron, he couldn't observe closely. Therefore, he couldn't find anything. Even great Master Chin wouldn't be able to find out what the problem was this time. Even though Lin Yu had shown some alchemists how to brew without a cauldron, not everyone had heard of it. For example, this middle-aged alchemist. Lin Yu raised his right hand. A flame appeared and began to split. 6 colors. 8 colors, 10 colors. A ball of Emperor's fire emerged from between Lin Yu's eyebrows and fell into the flame. Finally, an 11-colored flame appeared. The powerful aura made all the alchemists present feel suffocated. The 8th-grade alchemists in the Hall of Alchemy compared their flames to the flame in their hearts. However, they realized that there was no comparison. Lin Yu's flame completely crushed them in every aspect. It was no wonder that great Master Chin's flames were so terrifying. Lin Yu took out a few medicinal ingredients and threw them into the 11-colored flame. These medicinal ingredients were immediately melted into balls of medicinal liquid that floated in the flame. It's true. I've heard that Master Chin doesn't have a cauldron for alchemy. Today I see that he is indeed amazing. I didn't know that Master Chin's alchemy technique was so unique. It's hard to imagine. How can he succeed without a cauldron? Some alchemists who hadn't heard of Lin Yu's alchemy without a cauldron widened their eyes when they saw this scene. While the middle-aged alchemist was shocked, he was also pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect Master Chin to use a cauldron without a cauldron. This way, the alchemy process could be seen very clearly. The young alchemist stared at the flame in Lin Yu's hand without blinking. Chapter 9:21. Under Lin Yu's control, the medicinal liquids began to converge. To Lin Yu, concocting a fourth-grade medicinal pill was as simple as drinking water. If Lin Yu really used all his strength, he could completely concoct this medicinal pill in a few breaths. However, in order to let everyone see clearly, he deliberately slowed down. Even if Lin Yu deliberately slowed down, this speed was still extremely shocking to everyone. Seeing the medicinal pill gradually condense, everyone was shocked and at the same time held their breaths, afraid that they would disturb Lin Yu's pill concoction. Under this atmosphere, there was a short moment of silence in the hall that could accommodate tens of thousands of people. Only the light breathing of everyone could be heard. Just as the 6th ball of medicinal liquid merged into the center, The young alchemist was suddenly shocked and shouted loudly, "Master Chin, it's here. Why concoct pills? I start to feel different from you from here." As soon as he finished speaking, the middle-aged alchemist knew that he had made a mistake. He actually made such a loud noise when someone else was concocting pills. The surrounding alchemists also looked at him reproachfully. However, at this time, a calm voice sounded in everyone's ears. "Here, then I know what your problem is." Everyone hurriedly turned their heads to look, only to find that Lin Yu was actually able to speak normally while controlling the pill concoction. How was this possible? When concocting pills, one had to concentrate all their energy. This was something that everyone knew. Even high-grade alchemists were no exception. However, the scene in front of them had broken their understanding of pill concoction. F***CK. How is this possible? I've never seen anyone who can concoct pills and talk at the same time. Me too. Is this the ability of the Pill King's successor? I could say that Master Chin is really amazing. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would definitely think that it was a lie. I am a 7th grade alchemist and have concocted pills for decades. I've never met an alchemist like Master Chin. The hall was in an uproar, and the middle-aged alchemist revealed a pleasantly surprised expression after hearing Lin Yu's reply. Up until now, he had already firmly believed in Lin Yu. If Lin Yu said that he had discovered the source of his problem, then it must be true. The reason why you failed was because of the fusion of the medicinal liquid. The 6th medicinal liquid just now was a stalk of blue star grass, and the medicinal herb before it was yen jin. As Lin Yu completed the pill in his hand, he lectured the middle-aged alchemist. Of these 2 herbs, one is of the yin attribute, and the other is of the yang attribute. Although they're put in one after the other during the condensation process, they actually need to be gathered together. If you mix in a medicinal liquid made from the blue star grass first, it will cause the properties of the pill to become unstable, and it will definitely fail. So that's how it is. The middle-aged alchemist shouted in surprise. There were hundreds of steps to refining every type of pill. Even those high-grade alchemists did not know where his problem was, which was why he was unable to correct it. This time, with Lin Yu's guidance, in addition to his previous accumulation, when he returned to refine the marrow-cleansing pill, he might be able to immediately break through to become a level 5 alchemist. The surrounding people looked at the middle-aged alchemist with envy. This time, he was really lucky. "Thank you, Master Chin. Thank you, Master Chin." The middle-aged alchemist bowed and thanked him profusely. Lin Yu waved his hand and continued to ask, "Who else has a question?" This time, almost everyone in the hall raised their hands. After seeing Lin Yu's ability, everyone became even more excited. If Lin Yu could really solve his own problems, he would definitely make great progress in alchemy. "You come." Lin Yu walked to the edge of the lecture hall and randomly picked a young female alchemist. The female alchemist stood up excitedly. "Thank you, Master Chin." Lin Yu nodded, indicating for her to ask the question she wanted to ask. "Master Chin, I want to know if you can refine a level 9 pill now?" The young female alchemist's eyes lit up as she asked. During the Grand Alchemy Conference, although Lin Yu had refined a level 9 pill, no one had discovered it at that time. The other time, he had refined a level 9 pill for Nangonyu. No one would have known. Therefore, Lin Yu's identity in the outside world was still an level 8 alchemist. Hearing the young female alchemist's question, Lin Yu smiled faintly and did not say anything. Everyone thought that Lin Yu had not reached the level of a level 9 alchemist, or they did not want to reveal his ability, and that this matter would be over just like that. However, Lin Yu suddenly took out dozens of medicinal herbs and suspended them in the air. What is Master Chin planning to do? Taking out so many medicinal herbs, is he planning to refine a pill? He needs dozens of medicinal herbs to refine a pill. Could be that Master Chin is going to refine a level 9 pill. So Master Chin is not avoiding the question by not speaking. He wants to use his actions to prove his ability. Seeing Lin Yu's actions, the Hall of Alchemy was in an uproar. A level 9 pill was extremely rare. Even though there were a few level 9 alchemists in the Tower of Alchemy, even to them, refining a level 9 pill was an extremely difficult task. The success rate was less than 1 in 10. On top of that, refining a level 9 pill required an extremely quiet space. Therefore, nobody here had ever seen a level 9 pill being refined. In the corner, an elder stroked his beard, looking a little confused. It takes a long time to refine a cauldron of 9th grade pills. Is Great Master Cheen planning to refine it on the spot? Even though I've heard that Master Cheen's refining speed is extremely fast, it's not that easy to refine a level 9 pill. The elder who was talking to himself originally belonged to the Tower of Alchemy. He was one of the level 8 alchemists who joined the Heaven Alliance. Previously, he had learned a lot from Lin Yu's lessons. Therefore, he now respectfully addressed Lin Yu as Master Cheen. Even so, the elder was still not very optimistic about Lin Yu's ability to refine a level 9 pill on the spot. After all, there were a few very important points in refining a level 9 pill. There was not enough time, and the location was not good. If he could refine a level 9 pill like this, it would really be strange. Not only this level 8 alchemist, but the other high-grade alchemists also felt that it was unlikely to succeed. Unlike those low-grade alchemists who blindly believed in Lin Yu, they had a deeper understanding of alchemy. Naturally, they were more aware of the significance of a level 9 pill. One had to know that even the strongest level 9 alchemist on the primitive continent did not have the confidence to refine a level 9 pill. When refining a 9th grade pill, he couldn't guarantee a 100% success rate, not to mention that the environment here wasn't suitable for alchemy at all. Just as some people were secretly shaking their heads, Lin Yu had already summoned the 11-colored flame. Although it was not the first time it had appeared, the aura of the 11-colored flame immediately reduced the chatter in the alchemy hall. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 11-colored flame burned fiercely, and one by one, Lin Yu threw medicinal herbs into it. Some of the alchemists who were more knowledgeable about medicinal herbs felt a pang of pain when they saw this scene. The medicinal herbs that Lin Yu threw in were all very precious. However, there were dozens of such precious medicinal herbs. It was too extravagant. Although they were precious medicinal herbs, and the difficulty of refining them was much higher than that of low-grade medicinal herbs, they could not last more than a few breaths in front of an 11-colored flame. Soon, dozens of medicinal herbs were thrown in by Lin Yu and turned into a liquid that floated in the flame. Lin Yu stood next to the table, and the person closest to him was Yuji Kitami. Yuji Kitami could clearly sense Lin Yu's alchemy skills. Compared to the alchemy conference, he had improved a lot. Chapter 922. This was because the last time Yuji Kitami watched Lin Yu refine pills was during the Grand Alchemy Conference. At that time, Lin Yu had just received half of the Pill King's inheritance from the Pill King Temple and had just broken through to become a 9th grade alchemist. When Lin Yu received the complete Pill King's inheritance from the top floor of the Pill King Pagoda, his alchemy skills rose by a large margin. As the medicinal liquid gradually gathered, a strong pill fragrance filled the air. Everyone present was an alchemist, so they had naturally smelled pills many times. However, when this pill fragrance spread over, everyone couldn't help but take a few more breaths. They were shocked. Was this really just the pill fragrance? Just by smelling it, they felt comfortable all over, and waves of warmth flowed through their bodies. Just by looking at this effect, it was not inferior to taking a 5th grade pill. Master Cheen could actually refine such a godly pill. Before the pill was formed, everyone's hearts were already trembling. After an incense stick's worth of time, dozens of medicinal liquid had been condensed in the center of the flame. At the center of the flame, a golden pill had condensed. The golden pill spun continuously in the flame. There were 9 beautiful dark lines on it, filled with an indescribable beauty. Heavens! What kind of pill is Master Cheen refining? The 9 lines on it are more perfect than any pill I've ever seen. 9th grade pills are really rare. Perhaps none of us here recognize this pill. We can only wait and ask Master Cheen later. Is this a 9th grade pill? Master Cheen actually managed to refine it. No, it's not finished yet. After refining 8th grade and above pills, there will be a heaven and earth phenomenon. But this pill hasn't caused any heaven and earth phenomenon yet. That's right, but the pill's shape has already been formed. Why hasn't the heaven and earth phenomenon appeared yet? Could it be that he failed? Although refining pills required a quiet environment, when everyone saw Lin use 11-colored flame gradually forming a pill, they couldn't help but whisper to each other. However, the heaven and earth vision that would appear after a high-grade pill was refined had yet to appear. Everyone couldn't help but worry. Lin Yu heard all these discussions, but his face remained calm, as if he was not affected in the slightest. It wasn't that there weren't any heaven and earth anomalies. It was just that it wasn't time yet. The more powerful the medicinal pill, the more majestic the phenomenon would be. However, such a worldly anomaly required more time to accumulate power, so it would appear slightly later. However, Lin Yu didn't say anything because he could already feel a terrifying aura coming from above the alchemy hall. At the same time, the Hall of Alchemy was dead silent. Everyone could feel the aura above them. Because they were inside the alchemy hall, they couldn't see it with their own eyes. However, just sensing this aura made them tremble with fear. Boom! Boom! A huge explosion came from outside the alchemy hall, but the inside of the alchemy hall was silent. Only the sound of the 11-colored flame in Lin Yu's hand was in stark contrast. Looking at Lin Yu, who was standing on the podium with a calm expression, everyone was shocked and a trace of horror appeared in their hearts. Master Qin was indeed the successor of the Elixir King to be able to remain so calm under such circumstances. Some of the older alchemists couldn't help but make guesses. With Lin Yu's current performance, he would definitely surpass the Elixir King in the future. This was because even the Elixir King couldn't do this at Lin Yu's age. In contrast to the silence in the Alchemy Hall, the entire Heavenly Alliance city outside the Alchemy Hall, or rather, the entire primitive continent, was in an uproar when the worldly anomaly that Lin Yu had attracted appeared. When the lecture started, the sky was already a little dark. However, the sky above the Heavenly Alliance city was now as bright as day. A huge golden vortex appeared out of thin air above the Heavenly Alliance city. The vortex was filled with an endless amount of Yao Qi. The Yao Qi gradually flowed in the vortex, forming a mysterious aura. No matter who looked at the vortex, they would feel that they couldn't resist it. At this moment, the entire Heavenly Alliance city lit up like a torch, becoming the focus of the entire primitive continent. At the same time, it attracted the attention of many masters in the 3 realms and 5 territories. In the Heavenly Alliance city, Yang Kai, Qin Wunyan, and the others were maintaining order in the city while waiting for the lecture to end. Looking at the worldly anomaly that appeared out of thin air, their eyes suddenly widened. Is this the worldly anomaly that they were talking about? But this aura is too huge. Yang Kai raised his head and murmured. Qin Wunyan, who was beside him, was so shocked that he didn't know what to say. They knew that Lin Yu was teaching in the Alchemy Hall tonight and might refine pills. This worldly anomaly must have been attracted by him. Lin Yu's alchemy Dao was profound, but the worldly anomaly that he had attracted was too terrifying. The two of them didn't have time to look anymore. Because of the worldly anomaly, the Heavenly Alliance city began to become restless. They hurriedly continued to maintain order. In the Bei Mo clan, Bei Mo Bing had just come to visit Bei Mo Yin Lei's courtyard. Although he said that Bei Mo Yin Lei deserved to be beaten, he was still his son after all. This time, he even brought some medicine. Father, why did you only let my sister go to see Master Qin? Bei Mo Yin Lei complained with a bitter face. Master Qin is going to hold a lecture. Although only the people of the Heavenly Alliance can attend the lecture, Master Qin will definitely let me in as his disciple. I've missed an opportunity for nothing. Although Lin Yu had rejected his offer to become his disciple, Bei Mo Yin Lei had already bragged to Bei Mo Yu. In order to avoid being exposed, He also said the same thing to Bei Bing. But even Yuje Kidami could see through this lie. Bei Bing, who was experienced and astute, naturally wouldn't be deceived. Haha, an idiot like you wants to be Master Qin's disciple? You'd better recuperate. Bei Bing handed the medicine to the maidservant beside him and sneered. How could he not understand? Bei Yinlei, he was definitely boasting. Based on his previous performance, how could Master Qin take a liking to him? Hearing Bei Bing's words, Bei Yinlei's face twitched. He had been seen through, but he still insisted. What about me? Master Qin praised my talent in alchemy and took the initiative to take me in as his disciple. Seeing that Bei Yinlei was getting more and more ridiculous, Bei Bing rolled his eyes. The bodyguards who had escorted Bei Mayu during the day had already returned to the clan and told him that Bei Mayu would be attending tonight's lecture. This was the true link between the Bei Ma clan and Great Master Qin. Just as Bei Bing was about to tell Bei Yinlei this news and give him a good blow, he suddenly felt a powerful aura coming from the south. Chapter 923. This is... Bei Bing was stunned, and his expression turned grave. He actually felt an unparalleled power from this aura. He was a psionic king realm expert. Needless to say, the others in the room trembled when they felt this aura. Bei Bing, Yunlei, and the powerful maidservants trembled. Swoosh! Bei Bing waved his hand and opened the windows in the room. That's the location of Heavenly Alliance City. Bei Bing exclaimed when he saw the huge golden whirlpool in the distance through the window. This power that even he couldn't match actually came from the Heavenly Alliance City. What exactly happened there? Suddenly, an unbelievable thought flashed through Bei Bing's mind. Could this golden whirlpool be a heaven and earth anomaly caused by Lin Yu? This was because it happened to be the time when Lin Yu was teaching. If it was true, what kind of elixir did Lin Yu refine to be able to cause such a terrifying heaven and earth anomaly? There was silence in the room. Everyone looked at the spectacular heaven and earth anomaly in the distance, and their eyes were filled with shock. Dongsheng Precept Region, in a magnificent palace. Emperor Hao Tian sat on the dragon throne and was listening to his subordinate's report. Suddenly, he was stunned. Emperor Hao Tian raised his head and looked into the distance. His deep gaze seemed to pierce through space and saw the heaven and earth anomaly that had appeared in Heavenly Alliance City. How is this possible? Emperor Hao Tian shouted in disbelief. He sensed that an extremely powerful force had suddenly appeared in the primitive continent. This force even made him tremble in fear. There is no one above the psionic king realm in the primitive continent. What's going on? Emperor Hao Tian frowned. He could not figure out. The most powerful people in the primitive continent were the patriarchs of the 4 major clans, but they were only at the psionic king realm. The Mahavajrana Buddha had been missing for a long time. Although this aura was powerful, it was still inferior to his. Therefore, it could not be him. The rest of the people in the palace were shocked when they saw Emperor Hao Tian's shocked expression. The Supreme Sky Emperor had always been calm and collected. Even when he killed people, he was very calm. What exactly happened just now? The Dongsheng Dao domain was outside the primordial continent. Although the worldly phenomenon Lin Yu attracted was powerful, it was difficult for its aura to reach here. These people were only at the 10,000 spirit realm, so they naturally couldn't sense it. Only experts like the Clear Sky Emperor could sense it from such a distance. After searching for a while and finding nothing, the Supreme Sky Emperor could only give up. Left Elder, your subordinate is here. Hearing the voice of the Hao Tian Emperor, a middle-aged man in black stood out and said respectfully, "Bring your men and go to the primitive continent to investigate. Go now and be quick." Clear Sky Emperor ordered solemnly. Understood. The black-clothed middle-aged man cupped his fists and replied. Then, he turned around and left the palace quickly. Seeing the Supreme Sky Emperor fall into deep thought after sending people away, the people in the palace exchanged glances clearly confused. However, no one dared to disturb him. Somewhere in a secluded space, the air here was filled with a rich pill fragrance. The pill aura was so thick that it was about to materialize. Strands of pill patterns floated in the air. A white-robed old man sat cross-legged in front of a bronze pill furnace, meditating with his eyes closed. The white-robed old man suddenly opened his eyes and looked forward. A bolt of lightning flashed in his eyes. Someone refined a pill above the 9th grade. After sensing for a moment, the white-robed old man muttered to himself, his voice filled with shock. In this era, there was actually someone who could surpass the 9th grade. The old man couldn't believe it. Ever since the Elixir King fell, no one had been able to break through that realm. He trapped himself in this empty space and set up a restriction. As long as he didn't surpass the 9th grade, he couldn't come out. However, after so many years, he was still stuck in the 9th grade, unable to take that step. It was enough to show how difficult it was to reach that realm. The white-robed old man muttered to himself, "Do I have to continue studying alone?" Back then, he was recognized as a peerless genius in alchemy. Everyone thought that his talent wasn't inferior to the Elixir King. However, after so many years, he still hadn't reached the realm of the Elixir King. Now, someone else had broken through. Did he take the wrong path? The white-robed old man's expression was solemn as he fell into deep thought. Just as the experts in the 3 realms and 5 regions were shocked by this aura, Heavenly Alliance City, inside the Alchemy Hall, Linyu had already slowly retracted his hand. The golden pill with 9 patterns around it fell into his hand. As the pill was refined, the heaven and earth anomaly above Heavenly Alliance City gradually dissipated. The golden whirlpool's spinning speed gradually slowed down, and its momentum also decreased. Finally, it disappeared without a trace. F*CK. That was the heaven and earth anomaly caused by Master Qin refining this pill. It was so terrifying. I almost wet my pants. Brother, do you have extra pants? Although I didn't see the scene outside, I think it must be very spectacular. However, what pill did Mr. Qin refine? I once saw the heaven and earth anomaly caused by a grade 9 alchemist from afar. Although he was refining a grade 9 pill at that time, the scene couldn't be compared to just now. Hiss. Based on what you said, could it be that Master Qin isn't refining a grade 9 pill, but the legendary? Seeing that Linyu had finished refining, everyone in the alchemy hall started discussing loudly. Some alchemists couldn't hide the shock in their hearts. They stood up and asked Linyu loudly, "Great Master Qin, what kind of pill are you refining?" "This pill is called the Supreme Spiritual King Pill." Linyu tossed the pill in his hand and smiled faintly. Before he finished speaking, the entire alchemy hall fell silent. Everyone stared at the pill in Linyu's hand with their eyes wide open. Their gazes followed the pill up and down. Supreme Spiritual King Pill. Everyone present was an alchemist. Naturally, they understood the meaning behind this name. This kind of pill had only been refined by the Dan King back then, and he had also used this pill to create many Spirit King realm experts. Furthermore, most of these experts belonged to the primitive continent, causing the overall strength of the primitive continent to rise by several levels. After a while, the atmosphere in the alchemy hall eased. Some people began to discuss in low voices. Supreme Spiritual King Pill. Master Qin can't be talking about the pill refined by the Elixir King in the past, right? It shouldn't be wrong. Did you forget the heaven and earth anomaly caused by Master Qin just now? At that time, I felt that something was wrong. Such a powerful aura isn't something an ordinary grade 9 pill can create. In other words, Master Qin has already stepped into that level, just like the Elixir King in the past. Just this pill can create a Spirit King realm expert. It's too terrifying. I wonder who Master Qin is going to reward this pill to. Chapter 924. At this time, someone stood up and asked, "Master Qin, have you broken through to the 9th grade?" When everyone heard this question, they quickly looked at Linyu and waited for his answer. Although refining the Supreme Spiritual King Pill was enough to explain everything, they still wanted to hear Lin Yu say it himself. Yes. Lin Yu nodded and looked calm, as if what he said now was not important. When everyone in the alchemy hall heard this answer, they all gasped. After so many years, there was finally another alchemist above the 9th grade in the primitive continent. As for Yuja Kitami, who was behind Lin Yu, she was also shocked speechless by this news. Although she had tried her best to guess Lin Yu's strength, she did not expect that she had still underestimated him. Such a young alchemist above the 9th grade was far more terrifying than the Elixir King back then. Perhaps the supreme imperial elixir that the Elixir King had not been able to refine back then might be refined by Lin Yu. After concocting this supreme Spirit King pill, the lecture was considered to have come to an end. Lin Yu left with the slightly dazed Yuja Kitami from the back, while the alchemists in the alchemy hall were still in a state of excitement. Everyone, the lecture is over. Xiao Bing walked up to the podium and said to the alchemists below. These alchemists were still in shock after experiencing the scene just now. They were all discussing Lin Yu and the elixir with their friends and had no intention of leaving at all. When they heard Xiao Bing's words, they came back to their senses. Everyone left their seats and began to leave the hall. Ms. Xiao Bing, I would like to ask if Master Qin will still be teaching in the future. When leaving the hall, a young alchemist suddenly asked. When the others heard this, they all turned to look at Xiao Bing, their eyes full of anticipation. There will be more lectures. The specific time will be announced later. Xiao Bing nodded and said loudly. Damn, there will be more lectures in the future. This is too good. Fortunately, I joined the Heavenly Alliance. Master Qin is such a nice person. He took up his time to teach us. With such a leader, I will definitely work hard to contribute to the Heavenly Alliance in the future. That friend of mine didn't join the Heavenly Alliance at that time. After he knows about this lesson, he will definitely regret it. Hearing Xia Bing's affirmation, everyone became even more excited. Just this lecture alone allowed their alchemy Dao strength to increase by a great deal. If this lecture continued on, it went without saying how great the benefits would be. Some of the more knowledgeable alchemists thought of a deeper problem. Not only did Lin Yu have profound attainments in the Tao of alchemy, reaching the level of an alchemy king back in the day, but he also used himself to lead the alchemists below him. Under this kind of atmosphere, the entire primeval continent's alchemy Tao would welcome an overall rise. When the alchemists thought of this, their eyes burned with passion. Their primitive continent was about to rise. As soon as everyone in the pill hall walked out, they immediately heard the commotion outside. Those alchemists who didn't join the Heavenly Alliance gathered outside the pill hall, waiting for their evaluation of the lecture after they came out. The alchemists surrounding the alchemy hall became even more anxious after witnessing the massive heaven and earth anomaly just now. Brother, what did Master Qin teach just now? What did you learn? What was that golden whirlpool that appeared in the sky just now? Do you know? Was it attracted by Master Qin? Brother, can you share the content of Master Qin's lecture? I'm willing to give you a bottle of grade 4 elixir pills. The alchemists outside the pill hall quickly asked the people who came out and mentioned the heaven and earth anomaly that appeared just now. Golden whirlpool? Only then did the people who participated in the lecture know that the heaven and earth anomaly that was attracted by the completion of the pill was actually a golden whirlpool. Such a heaven and earth anomaly was unheard of. As expected of Master Qin, as expected of the supreme spiritual king pill. However, they didn't answer too much. Those who participated in the lecture had just learned from Xia Bing that they had to keep the knowledge of the lecture a secret. Even to their relatives and friends, they couldn't reveal anything. Otherwise, they would be severely punished. Although Xia Bing didn't say much about the punishment, no one was willing to take the risk. Therefore, the people outside only knew that those who participated in the lecture had gained a lot, and that Lin Yu's strength had surpassed grade 9. During the lecture, he had refined the supreme spiritual king pill. They couldn't know anything else. However, just these few pieces of news were enough to shock everyone. Great Master Qin had already surpassed the 9th stage. He He had even refined an elixir that could allow a myriad spirit realm cultivator to advance to the spiritual king realm. Oh my God! Those who didn't choose to join the Heavenly Alliance had missed such a precious opportunity. When the people outside the pill hall heard the news, they all regretted it. At this time, Xiaobing walked out of the pill hall and came in front of the crowd. "You must be the alchemists who didn't choose to join the Heavenly Alliance," Xiaobing said coldly, which immediately attracted many people's attention. These people looked at Xiaobing and didn't know what she was going to say. "However, you still have a chance. The Heavenly Alliance will continue to recruit alchemists, but it's slightly different from before. Now, the amount of elixirs you need to submit in the first 6 months of joining the Heavenly Alliance will be doubled." When the Heavenly Alliance took over the Pill King Tower, they had made some requirements for these alchemists. One of them was that all alchemists had to submit a certain amount of elixirs every month. The amount of elixirs submitted was related to the alchemist's grade. The number of elixirs submitted was small and was only used to supervise. Although the amount of elixirs submitted this time was doubled, the people outside the pill hall were excited when they heard the news. After knowing that Lin Yu had surpassed grade 9, they didn't care about the amount of elixirs submitted. This was because they knew clearly that Lin Yu was the leader of the Heavenly Alliance. The scale of the Heavenly Alliance would definitely develop to a terrifying extent. As for the members of the Heavenly Alliance, their strength and status would also rise with the tide. Compared to that, what did some medicinal pills count for? "Miss Xiaobing, I want to join now." "Miss Xiaobing, where can I sign up for the Heavenly Alliance?" "I'll rush over now. I won't miss it this time. I'm regretting that I didn't join the Heavenly Alliance last time and missed this lesson." Hearing Xiaobing's words, the crowd quickly asked, "Those who want to join the Heavenly Alliance can stay here first. After 2 hours, you can enter the pill hall to register," Xiaobing said calmly. Then, she turned around and walked into the pill hall. Xiaobing wasn't surprised that such a phenomenon would happen. This was because before the lesson, Lin Yu had already asked her to prepare for the recruitment of new members. It could be said that all of this was planned by Lin Yu. The lesson was just a means for the alchemists outside to join the Heavenly Alliance. The crowd outside the pill hall understood what she meant and quickly lined up in front of the door. Although it was very late and Xiaobing said that they would have to wait for 2 hours, it didn't stop their determination to join the Heavenly Alliance. At the same time, some alchemists rushed to the Heavenly Alliance city from various places. These people had just received news from their relatives and friends. After knowing what had happened, they couldn't wait to join the Heavenly Alliance. Chapter 925. The news of Lin Yu refining the Supreme Spirit King elixir kept spreading. Many alchemists were attracted to the Heavenly Alliance city. It seemed like the Heavenly Alliance city was going to become the new holy land of alchemy. A large number of alchemists gathered outside the alchemy hall in an attempt to join the Heavenly Alliance. Xiaobing sent people to arrange them one by one. That night, the number of alchemists in the Heavenly Alliance skyrocketed. Not only did they recruit many alchemists from the Tower of Pill Kings, but many alchemists outside also chose to join the Heavenly Alliance this time. The scale of alchemists in the Heavenly Alliance surpassed the original Tower of Pill Kings. On the other side, Lin Yu brought Yuja Kitami back to the tower. Along the way, Yuja Kitami walked beside Lin Yu and turned to look at him from time to time. Her eyes were full of surprise. Even though she had seen Lin Yu refining the Supreme Spirit King elixir with her own eyes, she still couldn't believe that the young man in front of her, who was about the same age as her, had reached the level of an alchemy king. At the same time, Beimayu Er's heart was filled with anxiety. Lin Yu had become an alchemy king elixir master, but she was only able to refine grade 7 elixir pills. The gap between them was like a chasm that was difficult to cross. "I must work hard to catch up with young Master Qin," Yuji Kitami thought to herself. Just as Yuji Kitami was staring at Lin Yu's side profile, a voice suddenly sounded. "Is there something on my face?" Lin Yu turned his head and raised his eyebrows as he asked. He had noticed that Yuji Kitami had been looking at him along the way. Even if he displayed the strength of an alchemy king, she didn't have to do that. Hearing this, Yuji Kitami came back to her senses and blushed. No! Yuji Kitami quickly turned her head and looked straight ahead, but there was a hint of panic in her eyes. I didn't look at you. You're so annoying. Beimayu blushed and mumbled in a low voice. Tsk tisk. Lin Yu smacked his lips and led the way into the tower. Yuji Kitami behind him stomped her feet and snorted softly before following him. The sky outside was already dark, but the inside of the tower was still brightly lit. On the first floor of the tower, Qin was waiting here. After seeing Lin Yu's figure, she greeted him with joy. Alliance Master, is the lesson going well? You were the one who caused the heavenly anomaly just now, right? Qin asked aloud. Some staff members on the first floor of the tower also cast curious gazes over. Although they had been staying in the tower the whole time, that terrifying aura still came in, and it even caused a small panic at that time. Yes, Lin nodded his head. Everyone was shocked when they saw this scene to Lin to their alliance leader to attract sect. Alliance leaders is. What level was Master's strength to level? At this time, Yuji Kitami also walked in. She was stunned when she noticed Lin Yu and Qin in front of him. Who was this woman who was slightly older than her, had a hot figure, and had a different kind of charm? It seemed that she was very close to Lin Yu. Yuji Kitami felt a burst of jealousy in her heart. Lin Yu's luck with women really surprised her. 1, 2, Beimayu counted in her heart. She had seen at least 5 or 6 women by Lin Yu's side. Apart from the women she had seen, there couldn't be any other women. Yuji Kitami thought to herself as she walked toward Lin Yu and Qin with a smile. Who is this little sister? Qin asked Lin Yu meaningfully after seeing Yuji Kitami. With her eyesight, although Yuji Kitami tried her best to hide it, she could still tell. Oh, Lin Yu looked back at Yuji Kitami and chuckled. She's the young master of the Beima clan, but tonight, she's my maidservant. I see. Hearing their conversation, Yuji Kitami's face suddenly turned red. Because Lin Yu had shocked her too much, she had almost forgotten that she had promised Lin Yu to be his maidservant. Also, on the podium, in front of so many people, she had served Lin Yu tea. It was only because Lin Yu had concocted the Supreme Spirit King pill today that it had caused a huge commotion and covered up everything else. Otherwise, her matter would definitely be the hot topic tonight. You're too naughty, Yuji Kitami said shyly with a red face. Qin smiled and said, Alliance leader, it's getting late. Shouldn't we rest? That's my plan. Lin Yu nodded and looked at Yuji Kitami. Miss Beima, do you want to stay in Heavenly Alliance City tonight? Hearing Lin Yu's words, Yuji Kitami was overjoyed. Just as she was about to agree, she noticed that Qin was also looking at her with a smile. The sourness in Beima's heart deepened, and she immediately snorted. Thank you, young Master Qin, but forget it. Why does this naughty guy always attract so many women? Do I have to listen to him just because he wants me to stay? Yuji Kitami was thinking in her heart when she heard Lin Yu's voice. All right, Miss Beima, take care. I won't see you off. With that, Lin Yu turned and walked up the tower. Qin covered her mouth and chuckled. She said with a smile, Sister Beima, remember to be careful when you go back. Looking at Lin Yu, who didn't even look back, Yuji Kitami was dumbfounded. She had just said that casually and wanted to act coquettishly. If Lin Yu asked her to stay, she would definitely agree. Who would have thought that Lin Yu would nod without even asking her to stay? Was she being chased out? Yuji Kitami clenched her teeth and was furious. However, since Lin Yu had already left and she had said that, Yuji Kitami could only leave even though she was unwilling. On the top floor of the tower, Lin Yu smiled faintly as he watched Yuji Kitami leave. He was naturally very clear about Yuji Kitami's thoughts, but he wouldn't do what Yuji Kitami wanted. Blindly obeying wouldn't improve her impression of him. On the contrary, after returning to his room, Lin Yu slowly fell asleep. Nothing happened that night because Yi Mingyue, Xia Bing, and the rest were still busy with the expansion of the Heaven Alliance. The next morning, Lin Yu was reading documents in his room. The documents that were handed in every day recorded the various changes in the Heaven Alliance City in the previous day. They contained a lot of information. For example, resources, population, the situation of the residents in the city, the completion of tasks, and so on. One could see the development of the Heaven Alliance city in the previous day from the information. The reason why Lin Yu took time to read the information personally every day was because the Heaven Alliance city had just been built. After a few days, when the Heaven Alliance city was completely stabilized, he wouldn't have to do this anymore. Chief, Yi Mingwei and Xia Bing walked in together. Lin Yu looked up and saw joy on their faces. It seemed that the results of the lesson last night were good. Chapter 926. Sure enough, Xia Bing started to talk about this. Last night, after the leader's lecture, I made a new request to the alchemists according to the leader's instructions. They accepted it quickly. In addition, the news of the leader's king elixir pills attracted many alchemists. I arranged for enough people to register all the alchemists. It's basically done now, but there are still more alchemists coming. Lin Yu nodded. The effect is good. Yi Mingwei, how's the statistics on your side? Yi Mingwei walked forward and handed a data sheet to Lin Yu. Before we came to report, according to the statistics of the Alchemy Hall, the Heavenly Alliance has a total of 7,000 alchemists, including a few level 9 alchemists. The level 9 and level 8 alchemists who belong to the King Elixir Tower have all joined the Heavenly Alliance. Originally, after Lin Yu let Qin Yi and the rest take over the King Elixir Tower, most of the alchemists chose to join the Heavenly Alliance, but most of them were low-level alchemists. For example, the 3 level 9 alchemists in the King Elixir Tower did not choose to join the Heavenly Alliance. After all, in their previous impression, although Lin Yu was the descendant of the King Elixir Tower, his strength in alchemy was only around level 8. However, after Lin Yu showed his King Elixir level strength last night, the 3 level 9 alchemists heard the news and chose to join the Heavenly Alliance after being shocked. As for those level 8 and below alchemists who did not join the Heavenly Alliance, needless to say, they hurried over. Lin Yu picked up the data sheet, glanced at it for a moment, and smiled slightly. According to the situation in the primitive continent, it could be seen from the data that more than 80% of the alchemists in the primitive continent had joined them. Of course, the total number of alchemists included the alchemists worshipped by the 4 great families. The alchemists worshipped by the 4 great families were not allowed to join other forces unless the agreed time was up. It could even be said that on the primitive continent, all the free alchemists who could join forces had joined the Heavenly Alliance. Other than the alchemists worshipped by the 4 great families, some alchemists who were far away from the Heavenly Alliance city were on their way. The Heavenly Alliance city was now regarded as the holy land of alchemists in the alchemist world. It was a place that countless alchemists yearned for. If that's the case, the primordial continent's medicinal pill chain can be considered to have been established. Lin Yu raised his head and said, "Many alchemists have joined in the past few days. All kinds of rules and regulations must be set up and perfected." Understood. Xia Bing hurriedly nodded. Over 10,000 alchemists had joined the Heaven Alliance in just a few days. If they did not set the rules, there would definitely be chaos. What's more, the status of an alchemist in the outside world was very noble, far beyond that of an ordinary person. This was especially true for those alchemists who didn't originally belong to the Pill King Tower. Previously, they had always been flattered by others or other forces outside, so when they came here, it was difficult for them to change their attitude. However, Lin Yu would not allow them to throw a tantrum here. Since they had joined the Sky Alliance, they had to follow the rules. He would hold classes regularly, so that these alchemists could improve their abilities. Naturally, they would have to contribute to the Heaven Alliance. That's right, get someone to prepare the medicinal ingredients that the 4 great clans brought over. I'm going to refine pills for them today. When Xia Bing and Yi Mingwei were about to leave, Lin Yu reminded them again. Okay. After the 2 of them left, Lin Yu walked slowly to the window. The tower's height was second to none in the entire Heaven Alliance city. Lin Yu was at the top of the tower, so he could see the entire inner city of the Heaven Alliance city from here. There were many unique buildings, and people were going in and out of them constantly. Exchange, auction house, cultivation technique building, elixir pavilion, elixir hall. All kinds of facilities were operating as planned, and the streets were filled with people walking back and forth. It was a harmonious scene. The Heaven Alliance city was operating. This way, everyone in the Sky Desert universe could improve their abilities step by step. In a short period of time, the overall strength of the Heaven Alliance would increase by a level. It's time to consider the third 10,000 soul seal. Lin Yu relaxed his eyebrows and sighed softly. Due to the combination of three elements, not only did he directly skip the 4-symbol state from the equalization state to the 10,000 soul state, but he could also absorb the second 10,000 soul state. He was also surprised to find that unlike other people who could only absorb the 10,000 soul seal once, after absorbing by Xiaoli's first 10,000 soul seal, he also absorbed the 10,000 soul seal condensed from Elixir Dragon's body. Moreover, from the feeling of his body, he could clearly feel that he could absorb another 10,000 soul seal. After absorbing that 10,000 soul seal, he could break through from the 10,000 soul realm to the Spirit King realm. Lin Yu thought for a moment and said slowly, "By Xiaoli's 10,000 soul seal can increase my speed." After absorbing Elixir Dragon's 10,000 soul seal, it also provides me with Elixir Dragon's power. It's best to find a third 10,000 soul seal that has something to do with spirit. Although he had a decent 10,000 soul seal, which was the heaven-grade 10,000 soul seal given by the Beima clan, Lin Yu had no intention of absorbing it. Firstly, Lin Yu had felt the attribute of the 10,000 soul seal. It was related to speed, which overlapped with the ability that Bai Xiaoli gave him. It could be said that the increase in his strength was very limited. Secondly, although the 10,000 soul seal was heaven grade, it was still a top-notch treasure in the outside world. No one would refuse it. However, to Lin Yu, a heaven grade 10,000 soul seal was still a little low. After all, whether it was by Xiaoli or Elixir Dragon, the quality of the 10,000 soul seal condensed was far higher than heaven grade. As for the third 10,000 soul seal, Lin Yu would never use it. However, it was not easy to find another demon beast like by Xiaoli and Elixir Dragon. Lin Yu estimated that it had to be at least a demon beast on the demon god list. On one hand, such demon beasts were powerful and difficult to kill. Most importantly, they were all hidden and lived in seclusion. Of course, when Lin Yu was in the Realm C, he had encountered a demon beast on the demon god list. It was a top-notch demon beast ranked second on the demon god list, Sea God. However, it was obvious that such a demon beast was not something that Lin Yu could defeat in the 10,000 soul realm. Even with the system's help, he could use space-time to heal his injuries and slowly exhaust it. However, he still had to injure it. Lin Yu suspected that with his cultivation level at the 10,000 soul realm, even if he borrowed by Xiaoli's strength, the injuries he caused to that big fellow might not be as fast as its recovery speed. Not to mention the fact that the sea god had recognized him when he had met her. This demonic beast should be related to her past. Therefore, this demon beast was definitely eliminated. It wasn't just sea god. At the very least, there was no need to think about the top 10 of the demon god list. Those demon beasts were not simple, and the possibility of killing them was extremely low. It looks like it will take some time to break through to the Spirit King realm. Lin Yu felt somewhat helpless when he sensed that his cultivation level had reached the peak of the late-stage 10,000 soul realm after the Heaven Man Unity Talisman. Chapter 9:27. At the same time, Yuja Kitami rushed back to the Beima clan from Heavenly Alliance City overnight. Last night, Lin Yu did not ask her to stay, and Yuja Kitami was angry when she thought about it. That bad guy. Yuja Kitami bit her lips and said angrily. Suddenly, a thought flashed across Yuja Kitami's mind. Lin Yu did not ask her to stay last night. Could it be because of that sexy woman? Thinking of this, Beima Yu-er's pretty face turned slightly red, and she lightly spat, "Bad guy." Because of this thought, she recalled the voice she heard when she went to Lin Yu's courtyard. She still could not forget that voice and would think about it from time to time. Yuji Kitami felt that her body was a little strange. Just as she shook her head to get rid of these thoughts, a voice came from the side. "Miss Yua, you're back." Yuji Kitami turned her head and saw her two maidservants standing at the entrance of her courtyard, looking at her in surprise. "You're?" Yuji Kitami asked doubtfully. She did not say when she would be back, so why were her two maidservants waiting for her at the entrance? "Miss Yua, the clan leader instructed us to guard here. Once we see you come back, we are to ask you to quickly go to the study to find him." Yuji Kitami frowned slightly, not knowing what Bei Mobing was planning to do. Furthermore, she had been on the road the entire night. What was so urgent about rushing back without letting her rest? Although Heavenly Alliance City was located on the original Beima clan's territory, it was closer to the Beima clan among the four great clans. However, the four great clans had vast territories, and even from Heavenly Alliance City to the Beima clan was a very long distance away. Furthermore, Yuji Kitami had been on a road late at night. She was only at the 10,000 spirit realm and could not fly all the way, so she was still affected by the black sky. Thus, when Yuji Kitami rushed back, it was already early in the morning. The news of Lin Yu becoming an Elixir King alchemist had already been spread to every corner of the primitive continent, and the Beima clan was no exception. Long before Yuji Kitami returned, Bei Mobing had already learned of the shocking news. At the same time, he also confirmed what the golden vortex he saw last night was. That was why he arranged for Yuji Kitami's maidservants to wait for her here in the morning. Bei Mayu naturally didn't know about this. She followed the servant girl's instructions to Bei Mobing's study. He saw that Bei Mobing was pacing back and forth in the room, looking restless. "Father," Bei Mayu asked after entering the room. When Bei Mobing heard her voice, he hurriedly raised his head and looked over, his face filled with joy. You're finally back." Bei Mobing hurriedly walked over excitedly and led Bei Mo to their seats. "Father, what's going on? What are you?" Bei Mayu was confused by Bei Mobing's behavior. Bei Mobing coughed softly and calmed down a little. I heard that you went up on stage with Master Qin last night." Although the news of Lin Yu becoming an Elixir King alchemist had spread like wildfire, the news of Yuji Kitami pouring tea for Lin Yu had also spread. However, with Lin Yu's current strength as a foil, Yuji Kitami was not belittled. Instead, she became the object of everyone's envy. Master Qin was a young Elixir King alchemist. Wasn't a good thing to be Master Qin's maidservant? Just like that, before Yuji Kitami returned, she had already been praised by many of the elders in the Beima clan during the clan meeting that Bei Mobing held. When Bei Mobing heard this, he felt the same way and was instantly overjoyed. Hearing Bei Mobing's words, Yuji Kitami's face flushed red. The news of her being Lin Yu's maidservant had indeed spread. Even her father knew about this. As the young master of the Beima clan, she represented the Beima clan's face when she went out. This time, she was definitely going to be scolded badly. Just as Yuji Kitami was stammering and thinking of how to explain, she heard Bei Mobing say, "Don't worry. This is a good thing. Right now, the reason why our Beima clan has such a close relationship with Master Qin is all because of you." Yuji Kitami was startled. She didn't expect that Bei Mobing, who cared so much about his reputation, would actually approve of this matter. However, it was good that she wasn't scolded. Yuji Kitami heaved a sigh of relief. Were you following behind Great Master Qin at that time? Did you personally see Great Master Qin concoct that Supreme Spirit King pill?" After talking about Yuji Kitami, Bei Mobing began to ask about Lin Yu and the pill that he had refined. Yuji Kitami nodded. Following that, Bei Mobing continued to ask about Lin Yu's pill refinement. As Yuji Kitami had been behind Lin Yu at the time, she naturally knew the pill refinement process clearly. Bei Mobing's questions were also very simple, and she immediately answered them. After hearing these answers, Bei Mobing nodded in satisfaction. Master Qin is indeed young and promising. He has already stepped into the Alchemy King level at such a young age. At this point, Bei Mobing's heart throbbed. According to Lin Yu's current achievements, he would definitely surpass the former alchemy king in the future. In that case, wouldn't the supreme emperor pill that the alchemy king had yet to refine have a chance to appear in Lin Yu's hands? That was a pill that could allow one to directly step into the supreme emperor realm from the spirit king realm. Once it appeared, it would probably attract countless people to fight over it. At that time, with the relationship between the Bei Mobing family and Master Qin, at this point, Bei Mobing increasingly felt that it was a wise decision to be willing to give the heaven-grade 10,000 soul seal to Lin Yu. At that time, those old fellows in the family had voiced their opposition, but now they were all listless. Ha ha ha. Bei Mobing laughed loudly. Seeing this, Yuji Kitami asked, "Daddy, if there's nothing else, I'll go back and rest first." Although not resting for a night was not a big deal for a 10,000 soul realm expert like Yuji Kitami. However, rushing for an entire night still made Yuji Kitami feel exhausted. Okay. Bei Mobing nodded, but then he thought of something and continued. Master Qin said that he will refine pills for us today. As for the matter of retrieving the pills, although they were only going to Heavenly Alliance City to retrieve some things, the Bei Mobing family naturally had a lot of people under them. However, he did not want to let go of a chance for Yuji Kitami to interact with Lin Yu, so he specially mentioned it. Seeing Bei Mobing's gaze on her, Yuji Kitami had no choice but to agree. She naturally knew a thing or two about what Bei Mobing was thinking. However, to be fair, she did not dislike it. After all, the person they were going to meet was not anyone else but Lin Yu. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.